Greetings, everybody. 3 rounds to go here in this illustrious PSGL PC Championship. And I have to say, it just does not stop. The excitement simply doesn't stop. And we're here at Abu Dhabi, of course, the Yas Marina circuit, ready for the third last race of the championship, as I said. I'm joined by Jack Canan. Jack, we're going to be here for something special tonight.
I hope so, yeah. We've got a potential Constructors' Championship being wrapped up by Mercedes this evening. It's a long shot, but it can be done with 3 rounds left in the championship, including this one before we head to Australia and Brazil as the last round. But we've got lots of new drivers taking part in this one as well. But the crucial thing is our championship contenders are all here, ready to go. Jarno Watmir with a 7-point lead coming in here. It's going to be pretty tight.
It is going to be very tight indeed. We've got quite a few driver changes, as Jack alluded to. Plenty to look forward to, folks, and I'm delighted to have you all with us once again here on this fine Thursday evening. It's also fine here in Wales. Actually, it's a little bit damp, but nevertheless, we are here and ready to go for some of, certainly witnessing some of the best drivers in the world sort of unleash tonight at Yas Marina. Of course, this circuit, 21 turns, 5.554 kilometers. That, of course, being 3.451 miles across this circuit. Now, very tricky. 2 DRS detection zones. One, of course, between turns 7 and 8, that long straight, heading down towards that short chicane. Almost a bit of a slow chicane, in fact. You've got to cut back in, then almost round again, heading through to the next DRS detection zone between turns 10 and 11, of course. So those sort of sections, I'd say, are probably the main parts for overtaking, but many of them do chance their arm in Sector 1, don't they, Jack? Heading into that first chicane at Turn 2.
Yeah, they do. It's a tricky sector, that first one, because you've got a nice wide turn 1, but then it sort of narrows up into that really long sweeping turn 2, turn 3, down to the slow chicane at 4 and 5. So you got to be brave to go side by side through there. But really, sector 1 is just making sure you stay in DRS range going into the back straight, as you said before. Lots of overtaking opportunities on that sector of the track. But once you get into the nice, tight and twisty section at the end, there's not really much room for overtaking. So really, action zone, sector 2. Keep your eye on it.
Absolutely. I just want to say a big hello, of course, to everybody who's in the chat. Aero F1, hello. Logan Skelton, yo. Digas F1 Cube to Pilots, wow, he's excited already. FRA Chili, hey George, hey Chili, hope you're doing well. Big C, hello. Big man boss, Big C. Jack, pundit predictions as well. You're trying to get off the mark. You're the only man without a win. But today, I've gone for Jarno Watmir. You've gone for Alessio Di Capua. Tell us your thinking behind that one.
Okay, right. Apologies to Alessio if something goes wrong, okay, right? Because we all know what happened last week. Alvaro, his wheel broke in qualifying, and then he had a bit of a... he had a great recovery, to be fair to Alvaro, but it all went wrong in qualifying. So, the reason I've gone for Alessio, we know how strong Alessio Di Capua is. He's a mega quick. But also another reason is in case the curse carries on, I don't want it to be one of the championship contenders. So that's my reasoning for Alessio.
It's a fair comment to make. I think obviously it was very unfortunate the way Alvaro carried on. Unfortunately lost it in qualifying. Unfortunately it meant, even though he qualified to get into Q3, essentially, because he did beat the elimination drop, but because he DNF'd the car, he was unable to compete. So we only had 9 cars in that final session of qualifying, which is absolutely intriguing. We hadn't seen anything quite like that before this season. Looking though at the rest of the predictions though, Big C, big man boss, Big C has gone for Danny Moreno. Of course, the other Mercedes driver, teammate to my prediction, Jarno Watmir, and Manuel, or Maku, has also gone for Barry Burremand, of course. So plenty of top-notch drivers here to fit the bill here at this fantastic circuit of Abu Dhabi. A very grandiose circuit, lots of wonderful architecture. But looking at the championship, Jarno Watmir on top spot. The gap separating him and Barry Burremand, a succulent 7 points is all that separates them. It's going to be absolutely scintillating to see these two go at it. And I have to say, both of them don't like to leave any stones unturned on track. In mind as well, Caraton, despite the DNF in Q2 in qualifying, came back, managed to redeem himself some points, certainly getting 5 points on the day. He's 10 points away from the championship top table. It is so close. Let's not forget Danny Moreno, who has actually gone past Presneda, and he is getting closer as well. Currently approximately 24 points away from Jarno Watmir. I just want to say Alvaro Caraton's actually 17 points away from Jarno Watmir as well, folks. So it's going to be very, very close indeed. Lots of potential out on this track. It's a fascinating title battle, isn't it, Jack?
Yeah, it really is. And ideally, because of the different point system here at PSGL, Really, Alvaro needs to win today to keep himself in contention because, of course, I think it's about 16 points for the win with the extra point for fastest lap as well. So Alvaro needs to get a result. He needs to get himself in front of Barry and in front of Jarno if at all possible. He's done it before. He's won the US Grand Prix, so don't count him out. But he has to have a result today or that championship chance is going to slip between his fingers. So he needs to keep an eye. He needs to get a result out of today as well. On Danny Moreno as well, of course, we know that man has so much talent, but think of how close this could have been. It could have been even closer because remember, Danny has had 2 wins taken away from him on penalties, Monza and the one that Alvaro won, of course, the US Grand Prix. So this could be a lot closer. In fact, Danny Moreno could have been leading the championship going into this one, but there's a lot of opportunities that went slipping.
They certainly did. And I have to say, folks, it's going to be very intriguing to see how these guys get on track. We have actually got a couple of discrepancies by the looks of it on the numbers. We're just having a look now. And there's some naughty people who have not changed their number correctly, I don't think. Dominica Levecce appearing twice on track. So reminder, folks, for those who do not give the correct numbers, obviously to the race, actually get given a 10-second time penalty. So that's what you get, and that's the league rules. You cannot deny that, and that's exactly what you get. So at the end of the day, that's going to really implode a couple of the drivers' opportunities here tonight, but we'll have to wait and see anyway. Here's Alvaro Carreton, one of the men currently in the firing line for the championship. He is up there, 17 points away from the lead right now. And what are you thinking if you're Alvaro Carreton right now? Because obviously last week wasn't exactly the best boon of confidence, but he is a man you cannot... You can certainly rely on him. He is certainly a hugely fast driver, very reliable as well. Despite that little incident, he brought it back in the race, managed to scoop up some decent points as well. But today, I'd imagine he has grander things on his mind, Jack.
Yeah, I think so. When we know Carreton has a lot of pole positions to his name, of course, he likes to take pole position at the very last possible moment in qualifying. He pulls a lap out of nowhere and brings it onto the top. So you cannot discount Alvaro Carreton at all. So, but I think there's a little bit more pressure on his shoulders now because I think he knows he's got to get a result tonight. At least get himself as close as he can to Jarno and Barry. If he can get in front of them, all the better. But if he can just minimise the points loss going into the last 2 rounds, because there's not really that many points up for grabs at the end of the day because of this different point system. So Alvaro needs to get something out of today. A win, ideally for him, is what he needs. But of course, he's got a tough old teammate in this one. He's got Alessio Di Capo filling in for Nicholas Matteo, of course, who is not taking part tonight. And of course, Williams second in the Constructors. They could very well lose out the Constructors Championship to Mercedes this evening. So if Mercedes get another 1-2, I think that's it, pretty much wrapped up, all said and done. But it is going to be a very tight battle for pole. I think we've got about 4 or 5 contenders for it.
We certainly do, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this plans out, because of course Abu Dhabi, not quite your conventional racing circuit, more of a street circuit, modified obviously as to what it is right now. But looking at it, we've been racing here since 2009, so 12 Grand Prix held in its history, and nevertheless very, very interesting, certainly in the type of racing we do see. And naturally it takes, I think, a more technically sound driver, maybe a more well-rounded driver, in order to cultivate your way around a track such as this. Obviously the corners do vary, especially going into Sector 3, where you've got a series of kinks, chicanes, and of course the progressive bends as well, with the likes of turn 20 into turn 21. It's going to be very interesting as Jarno Watmir sets an initial time of a 1:48. Carreton immediately comes in and goes approximately 3/10 faster, albeit these are not times that are representative. Currently on the intermediates as Antoine Dezalewski makes his way up into P2. New recruit by CRG, of course. And now dropping down to P3 as Chana Kinchi goes into P1. And it'd be interesting to see what Antoine Dezalewski can do here, Jack, because he looks like a massive talent. And I've had the privilege to watch him in World Online Racing Xbox this season, and he's been absolutely outstanding. He won the first 3 races on the calendar there, and he looks no slouch at all. And let's see what he can do in the Racing Point.
Yeah, he's looking very good, and a debut on PC. What better way to cut your teeth on PC than mixing it up with the very, very best in the business. So, yeah, Dezalewski, I reckon he's going to perform well today. He's alongside Dylan Warren, of course, at Racing Point. So nice to see them. Of course, Ruben Vallejo missing out this week as well. Just as well, in an Alpha Tauri in place of Jake Bennett, we have Jorge Alberola returning to the series. Of course, nice to see him back. And in at Haas, I tell you what, Haas have got a good lineup this week. Got Lewis Welch and Matthias van Erven, and we know how quick Matthias is.
Oh, Matthias is an absolutely rapid talent, of course. And Louis Welch, no slouch himself. And coming off the back of a very good performance last time out, in fact, was certainly one of the upstarts there. Managed to garner himself 8 points, but he was well up there and fighting and firing with many of the best on this classification. And you will not count the probably quoted and has been quoted by Jana Watmir as the greatest pad driver on the game today, as Alberola goes purple in Sector 2 on soft tyres this time, so a representative lap time. Little bit of a slide though heading into Sector 3, not ideal at all, but the AlphaTauri still probes and persists. Heads through into Sector 3 proper now, making his way round the next right-hander, and this of course at turn 21. Heading down now towards the next left. Sorry, not turn 21. That was turn 17 and turn 18. Now turn 19. Heading down towards turn 20. And very shortly be making his way around turn 21 as he takes the next right-hander. The AlphaTauri. Oh, a little bit of rear wheel spin there. Very nearly lost the car, but goes across the line nonetheless. And I think that might have been an invalidation.
It was indeed invalid, went over the curb on the way in, and that was a massive, massive moment from Jorge Alberola. He's going to have to go again for his lap. Andreas Dormeyer, I think, is going to be the one that's going to set the first representative time in the Renault. Let's see what Dormeyer can do. He's going to peel into pit lane, actually, at the very last moment. He's not going to set a time. Just has no times on the dry tyres just yet. Of course, everybody got out in intermediates. We see this every single week. That's, of course, to just save a set of tyres rather than using a set of dries on their first runs. It's going to be a way. It's just a strategy, really, that's been used all the way through in Q1 in full qualifying, saving a set of tyres so you don't have to use a set of dry tyres on your first opening runs. But now we'll see them all come out onto soft tyres to go into Q2. As well, of course, we have a reserve in at McLaren as well this week. Of course, you'll see him. It will be listed as Luke Smith, of course, who is joining in at McLaren to fill in for Josh Idabu. And unfortunately for Josh, of course, since he's missing out this week, George, that's going to end his title hopes. It
will indeed. We're going to have to obviously wait and see how things pan out for the rest of these guys. Obviously, here comes Joe Hannon, just making his way down the stretch as well in the AlphaTauri. And, of course, AlphaTauri themselves are going to pick themselves up off the bottom end of the table, currently lying at the midst of, well, they are down in the doldrums they're actually 150 points away from Mercedes altogether, and that just shows the stark contrast as Chanakinchi goes to the top here for the Renault team. 2 purple sectors in 2 and 3. And green in Sector 1 as Jorge Alberola comes across the line, just under 9/10 of a second away from the Renault of Chanakinchi. So, good start for Renault. And Chanakinchi certainly a very reliable contender as well. Been seen at the top end on various occasions, and certainly a force to be reckoned with. Of course, many of these drivers competed in the likes of Challengers, as well as the F1 Esports Pro Series. So definitely a staunch number of quality here. You should not differentiate between the two, because Akinci can also be a very dangerous player, Jack.
Yeah, he had a really good showing in qualifying. I think it was at Japan. I think he had a really good run in qualifying, did Chanakinchi. So he is very quick, the Turkish driver. So obviously we're going to see how he's going to get on in the Renault. Renault with a decent team now, Chanakinchi and Andreas Dormeyer in full time there. So let's see how they get on. Of course, we're waiting for a few more drivers to come across the start-finish line now, and we still haven't seen. Of course, we have the Mercs coming out now. We have Otmir out on soft tyres now, and I imagine Danny Moreno is not too far behind him, and there he is indeed, both of them coming out at the same time. Ferrari of Tom Martinez, that is, in just behind Danny Moreno at the moment, but a man, of course, who's on a hot lap right now and needs a miracle to get back in the championship fight. It's Philip Preschnader.
He does indeed, and hasn't quite gone to plan for Preschnader. Unfortunately, though, he has gone purple Sector 1 this time, so he's on a flyer as he makes his way down, looking to gather a slipstream down the stretch, and heading down towards turn 8 now. And got to say, it'd be great for Ferrari if he can do just that as they head down towards the next left-hander here in Sector 2 and round the next right. And certainly Scuderia Ferrari would benefit from that. He's lost his purple Sector 1. Someone else has gone quicker, but the Ferrari nonetheless will continue to hustle and bustle his way down towards turn 11. Down towards the next left into turn 12 and 13 shortly. Very winding chicanes, very easy to invalidate. Certainly if you rub the curves, lose the car. Very easy to tread over the white lines as he now makes his way towards the next right-hander. And hightailing it through Sector 3 now proper. As they come through the next right-hander again. Now through the next left. Filip Prejnader, of course, the Slovak, who's been looking to try and garner himself back again, has had a very, very large dip in form this season in recent weeks. Makes his way around the final corner now at turn 21. Can he turn it around this time and go top, at least for the time being? Will it be enough? P1 it is, a 132.289, and goes just under 2.5 tenths of a second quicker than Johanan. And certainly a great showing by Ferrari in the early offing.
Yeah, absolutely. Just keeping an eye on the sector times currently. Fastest sector 1 is currently Alessio Di Capua, I think, according to my time screens right now. It's not much in the difference, but it looks like Di Capua is going to set the first benchmark time in Q1. Here he comes to the last corner right now, gets on the power, and it's going to be a 32-0 just in front of Barry Burman. Timon shoots a slots into P3, and Otmir should be coming in just behind shortly. Dylan Warren slots into P5, that I just seen come across the line right now. Here comes Jarno Otmir into the last two corners through turn 20 and turn 22. There's Luke Smith up to P4 on the McLaren. Good showing from McLaren at the moment. And here comes Jarno Otmir. He goes to the top on the 31.883. Danny Moreno will follow him across the line in a 32.0. That is ominous. It's a Mercedes 1-2 at Abu Dhabi. What a surprise.
Oh, it's a trend that they very much like to set, and the Mercedes team will be delighted with that. Danny Moreno joining his teammate on the front row, if we were talking about Q3 anyway, but Otmir on top spot. Dzalewski into P7. And currently 4 tenths off the mark of Jarno Otmir. But just look at these delta times. And currently showing Caraton goes into P4 as well. So Williams in for the fight as well, Jack. And I have to say, what a pairing that is. The two Spaniards, of course, Alessio was should say not Spaniards, sorry. We got Caraton and Alessio Di Capua. Bit of a blunder on my part, of course. Get your countries right, George. But Alessio Di Capua into P3 and Caraton into P4. Well, superb showing from Williams in the early offing.
We've just offended the entire nation of Spain and Italy at once, George.
I'm sorry to both parties on that one. Apologies to Alessio, apologies Alvaro, apologies to Italy, and apologies to Spain as well.
Well, I think they'll forgive you anyway. We've got 4.5 minutes left in this qualifying session. It's currently Di Capua with the advantage over Caraton. Not by much, though. It's less than a tenth of a second. But Otmir currently has the advantage over Danny Moreno by just over a tenth of a second. Then the Williams. Then it's followed by Barry Burman in P5. It's very close, of course, but he's P5 at the moment, beaten by the Williams. The man at the current, there's a couple of people I'm actually quite impressed with at the moment. At Timon Shooter running well, P6. How about Luke Smith on debut, P7? In front of Antoine Dzalewski, who's running well in the top 10. Still a few more to settle after waiting for the two Red Bulls of Dario Iummolo and Domenico Lavecce to come across the start-finish line now. Lavecce is going to be the first of the Red Bulls to set a time. He's going to come to the last corner now, and we'll see what he can do. The Italian coming across the start-finish line now. Let's see where the Red Bull's going to go. He's going to go to 13th. Not that safe. Here comes Iummolo. He goes to 16th, and that is not safe for Red Bull. Red Bull are in big trouble.
Yeah, they are in very big trouble indeed. Currently lying P7 in the constructors' standings. Of course, Lavecce and Iummolo in recent weeks haven't been too bad. They have been really, really up there and fighting. Both of them tend to be up in the same proximity when it comes to racing, but nevertheless, not having the ideal of runs here. Well, certainly in this session, Lavecce in P13 with Iummolo in P16. Obviously, apologies for the telemetry, guys, but it looks like that Iummolo might not have set or at least used the correct number for the telemetry setting. So obviously that does mess it up our side. So do apologise for that. And unfortunately, that could well be a 10-second time penalty heading his way as well, which is not ideal at all. But we've got just over 2.5 minutes left of qualifying here in Q1. Otmir and Moreno on top spot. Moreno's retired, so is Di Capua. Still Caraton is staying in the session. Otmir yet to retire just yet, but I'd imagine that 131.8 is relatively safe.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's not going to need to come out again. The guys who are going to need to come out, well, Tom Martinez is the man on the bubble at the moment in P15. He's got a 10th advantage over Iummolo. Albarola's got to go again. He's currently improving. He's a 10th up in sector number 1 in the Alpha Tauris, and we need to see Lewis Welch out yet. He's currently has not set a time yet. Jari Fitz on his way out of the pit lane now as well, and Dormeyer's on his way out of the pit lane as well. So there could be some big scalps here at the start of Q1. Like as normal, there's always one big surprise that gets knocked out in Q1, and currently Dario Iummolo is the man who's currently out of qualifying. Unfortunately, George, he's not going to get another time. He's coming into the pit lane right now, so Yamulo will definitely be out of qualifying.
Yeah, Yamulo is out, so Red Bull now one-legged heading into Q2, but they could be, both of them could exit yet, because Lewis Welch and Jari Fitz obviously looking to improve. Chanakinchi as well as Martinez, who's very much in the mix of this, but Lewis Welch now commences his fast lap. We'll have to wait and see what he can do as he makes his way around the next left-hander, of course. Big lap this is for Lewis Welch now, just as important as a pole position lap, or a lap to at least try and garner yourself a top position during a race as well. Never has it been more key for a Haas to get into the next session of qualifying, as we now witness Lewis Welch heading around the Ferrari World hairpin as he makes his way around now. Jorge Alberola is retired from the session as well, but I'd imagine, obviously looking at things on screen, yes, he is not going to improve, so he is out of the session, as well as Dario Yamulo, as we now witness Lewis Welch hightailing it down towards the next left-hander, the Haas driver, who's been really sterling in recent weeks. Lots of points go in the way of Haas. Got to say, maybe looking slightly sluggish through that chicane at turns 8 and 9, now powering out of turn 10. Heading down the stretch with the DRS activated, hugging the inside line, trying to take the quicker sort of end of the circuit as he now makes his way through the next left and right once again. Turns 11, 12 and 13. Now making his way down towards 14. Now, and I have to say, just look at the pace. He's trying to really push, trying to garner. And you can only imagine how tough this is on a pad system. Credit to him for that as he makes his way around the next right-hander, down towards the next left. This, of course, being turn 18. Turn 19 beckons. Makes his way through it now. Down the stretch. Down towards turn 20. And never before has Sector 3 had to be so important here for Lewis Welch. Round the final corner at turn 21. The Haas driver looking to light things up here. Comes across the line, P11. And that will make him safe. A great lap indeed from Lewis Welch. Sees him through in qualifying.
Yeah, that's knocked Tom Martinez out, but he's also improving. This is going to be a tight battle to make it into Q2. Here comes Chanakinchi. He's on the bubble, P15. Let's see what he can do. Can he improve himself? Get himself... it'd be a surprise if both Renaults get knocked out. Dormeyer and Chanakinchi. Here comes Akinci then through the last corner in the Renault, P15. This should be enough to get him further up the order. It is. It's P7. That's good for him. Van Erven's now P14. Not safe. Let's see where he can go. He goes up the... He doesn't improve. He's not quite safe yet, Van Erven. Let's see what happens. Lavecche's in danger. If Tom Martins or any of these guys improve, that could be a big moment. Johanan, sorry, if Van Erven comes across the line, he's there. Here comes now Dylan Warren's P2. That's what I was trying to see. Tom Martinez, P16. Jari Fitz, where's he going to go? He doesn't make it. Dormeyer through the last corner. He's the man who can knock out Lavecche. Here we go across the start-finish line. It is enough. Both Red Bulls out in Q1. That is a massive moment, but another massive moment. How about Dylan Warren up in second?
Yeah, credit to Dylan Warren. Sensational from the youngster. I have to say, parking his racing point up in a P2. He had a great start to the season here at PSGL. Just couldn't do anything middle of the season. He's had to recover, but he's come back here today and managed to scoop up a P2 in the first session of qualifying. Absolutely exquisite. And credit to the man, he has done the business, and Racing Point are going to be absolutely thrilled with that performance. Jarno Watmir on top spot, though. He has done it for Mercedes, a 131.883. Dylan Warren in P2, a 132.022, with Danny Moreno in P3 for Mercedes, a 132.040. And you've got Johanan there in P4, Alessio Di Capua P5, Alvaro Caraton P6, Barry Burman P7, Thyman Shooter P8, Chanakinchi P9. You've got Andreas Dormeyer P10. Then you got Sam, City, the new driver, Vexit there. I have to remember all these new names, of course, folks. Unreal. There you've got Antoine Dezaluski, Philip Presnader P13, Lewis Welch P14, Matthias Van Erven just getting through as well. Both Hasses through, but we're losing Domenico Lavecche, Tom Martinez, and Dario Yamulo, plus many others. What a finale in Q1, Jack. Sensational.
Wow, both Red Bulls, considering how well they've been going, that's a big surprise that they both went out in Q1. Also, Matthias Van Erven right on the bubble, 5.005 was all it was for him making it in to Q1. But he's made it in, and he should be happy with that. Both Hasses have made it in. Both Racing Points are in. Of course, one Ferrari making it through. Philip Presnader goes through. Thyman Shooter in the sole Alfa Romeo makes it through, with Jari Fitz getting knocked out. But it's going to set up for an interesting qualifying here at Abu Dhabi, and of course this is the crucial one now, because this session decides your race tyres. So Q2, it's all about the tyre strategy. So let's see what happens. But impressive performance from Luke Smith. Vexa, of course, on his debut, straight into Q2.
He is indeed. Amazing stuff from Luke Smith. Give him credit. And huge effort. Certainly on your first appearance here in PSGL. I mean, you can imagine how daunting it is for a lot of these drivers new to this format, new to this league, certainly new to this division, not racing some of these drivers. Remember, this is the first time that PSGL has actually fielded the PC League this season, and I have to say it's been a huge learning curve for loads of drivers out there, and you can only imagine it can be a treacherous thing for many new guys, because of course you've got to go out there and do your bit against the best in the world, F1 esports champions, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you've got Luke Smith out there right now with his mirrors filled with Alessio Di Capua as well. So you've got some big names on the circuit as well. But there's no better place to learn your trade than to mix it up with the very best on PC if you can and prove yourself. And he's doing a good job right now in the McLaren. Of course, he's got big shoes to fill. He's filling the shoes of Josh Idowu. So he's obviously got some expectation on him going into this round. But he's on course. If you can make it into Q3, then that's obviously fantastic for him. But I don't think anyone's expecting too much from Luke Smith today, but let's see what he can do as well. The AlphaTauri of Johanan as well, also a great performance to get into Q10. He had his best result as well, and not so long ago P5 he picked up as well. He's been sort of the kind of the lone ranger almost. He's gone under the radar for this season, but he's been performing very well in that AlphaTauri.
He is, absolutely. He is doing certainly the business here, and we'll have to wait and see how things pan out for him. Alessio Di Capua now making his way through the next left-hander, and certainly it's going to be certainly a big day for him as well. He's been in amongst it for certainly the best in the world, and has been put in a Williams car that I have to say has been up there and fighting this season. Of course, Nicholas Matteo has been in that seat to date, and of course been battling in challenges like Alessio Di Capua, but now Alessio filling his shoes this time, and certainly with Alvaro Caraton next to him, that's a huge force to be reckoned with here in Q2 as they round their way down towards the next left-hander. Di Capua currently purple in Sector 1 on the soft tyres, so this is going to be an absolutely massive lap, you'd reckon, as he makes his way through the next left and right, and heading out now towards the next stretch. This between turns 10 and 11. And here comes the Williams now, Di Capua, number 22, making his way down the stretch around this next left-handed curve. And now he'll make his way through turns 11, 12, and 13. And certainly Mercedes looking to do the biz here as they round the next left-hander. And still Di Capua doing his boldest anyway. He's purple in Sector 1 and 2. It's just been taken away from him in Sector 2 now as well, as they now round the next right, heading into the next left. And Di Capua now round the next left once again. Final sector, he's well and truly within it now. You can see there a car parked on the right-hand side that looks like a racing point. And could be either, I'd imagine, Dylan Warren actually on his outlap. But here comes Di Capua now, coming up across the line to set the first time in this qualifying session of 133.453. Not the quickest we've seen, Jack, but top billing nonetheless.
Yeah, he backed off before going across the line, George. He braked before he got across the line. So yeah, I think he was trying to get a specific time there, which is interesting to get across the start-finish line. Here comes Danny Moreno next. He's going to go to the top of the standings. Actually, he's invalidated that lap. It was a 32.1, which was a second and a bit quicker, but he's invalidated it in that last sector. So Moreno's going to have to go again on his run. Not ideal. You only really want to be using as minimal tyres as you can, because these are, of course, your race tyres. But thankfully, he obviously didn't set a time on those. He can go set and put on another set of the soft tyre and go again if he wants to do that, but he needs to get a time on the board. We're waiting for a few more to come across the start finish line. Still Di Capua with the advantage currently now. Purple in Sector 1 has now gone to Timon Shooter in the Alfa Romeo. He's very quick at the moment in that first sector, on a very, very marginal, of course, but he is the fastest man in Sector number 1.
He is indeed. They're just now making their way through the latter part of this circuit now, and Di Capua now, of course, now after setting that first time, very soon he's going to be toppled, as there's plenty of drivers out there looking to shoot for the wins here. Barry Burraman currently on an invalidation as well. Here is Danny Moreno, of course, making his way through green in the first two sectors. Otmir's out and about as well. Prejnader, as well as Duzalewski. Everybody's out right now, literally trying to fire their lap times up on the board. And Moreno now, green 1 and 2, like I said before. But the question is, who's going to be purple as they now come through the final sector? And Dylan Warren goes into first place, only just under 0.2 of a second ahead of Di Capua, as more and more will come across the line. And certainly this man, Danny Moreno, will be looking to be one of them as they come around the next right-hander. Coming down towards the final corner now. He actually backs off, comes into the pit lane as Chanakinchi breaks into the 132s and goes nearly over a second quicker than Dylan Warren. Exceptional there as Simon Shooter breaks the duck now and moves into P1 with a 132.173. Exquisite lap times now being fielded as the track begins to warm up here in Q2.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to get some clarification on who's in that Haas, that is Matthias Van Erven in P2, because Chanakinchi and Van Erven are running the same number, naughty. And so Van Erven in the Haas, Chanakinchi in the Renault, but Timon Shooter purple across the board in the Alfa Romeo, going really well. 32.12 tenths clear of Matthias Van Erven. I haven't seen anybody go for the mediums yet. Looks like Jarno Watmer's prepping the mediums, as is Danny Moreno. They want to get in to the top 10 on the mediums if they can. But here comes Luke Smith in the McLaren as well. He's gone out in the mediums. Plenty of them switching on to the medium tyre right now. Lewis Welch is about to set his time. That might have been an invalidation in that last corner. Let's keep an eye on him though as he comes across the start-finish line in the Haas. Where is he going to go? He has invalidated the time. It was a 32.5. Good enough for third, but that second to last corner seems to be the problem today.
Certainly does. It does indeed. Just look at the deficit, though. Dylan Warren's still 1.1 seconds down. He's got a little bit of a mountain to climb. You can imagine, though, he must have had a little issue heading through his lap. Well, to say the least. Simon Shooter, though, on top spot with Chanakinchi just in behind him. Dylan Warren there, of course, like I said before, P3, but well out of the margins. Simon Shooter, though, making his way around as we're now watching various other drivers now make their way around. Of course, this is another one on the medium tyres. Of course, Luke Smith making his way around the circuit here at Abu Dhabi, coming around the next left-hander, the curving right-hander here in the last stage of Sector 2. And certainly McLaren would really love to get a bold result here today. And of course, this youngster would just be, or like to be, the man to bring it to them as well. Heading up through the winding section now, commencing Sector 3, out of Turn 13, heading through Turn 14. And about to take this left now, down towards Turn 15, into 16, and very shortly 17. It gets so testing in Sector 3, of course. Like I said before, very intense part of the circuit, lots of cornering to do, and very technical as well. You need to be at your best in order to try and get yourself on a positive trajectory, as we're now seeing Luke Smith making his way down towards Turn 20. Now towards Turn 21. What can the McLaren do this time? He's actually slowing down, Jack. And again, it's a heartbreaker.
He's on an outlap, George.
He's on a bugger. That was me thinking he was on a fast lap. That's frigging great. Got to say, folks, this is going exceptionally well tonight, I have to say. But there we are. Jack, over to you.
Oh, God. Can we get a clip of that, please? Brilliant. Okay, now he's on a lap, George. So Luke Smith begins his lap on the medium tyres. We also have Anton Desalewski beginning his lap now. Alvaro Caraton on the mediums. Danny Moreno's out on the mediums as well. They're still sitting in pit lane, but they are ready with the medium compound tyres. So we've got Joe Hannon out on them as well. Dormeyer's opted for the soft compound tyre. Obviously doesn't feel too confident to get through on those medium compound tyre, but it will be Luke Smith is going to set the benchmark for the medium tyres. DeCapua is prepping them as well. Dylan Warren's prepping the medium tyre as well. So we're pretty clear on what the obvious strategy is going to be. These guys are going to try and get through on those medium tyres, but it seems like a similar situation to what we had last week, where everybody's going to qualify on the same tyre and go on the alternate strategy, which then becomes the favourite strategy anyways. Looking at the sector times for Luke Smith at the moment, it's a 16.8 in the first sector, so about 2 tenths down on time and Shooter, and then matching him actually in the middle sector. This is going to be a good lap from the McLaren driver. He'll probably feel the medium deficit in the last sector, though not as grippy as the softs as he comes through turn 19 now, heading down towards turn 20 and 21. It should be a good lap from the McLaren here. Luke Smith down towards the last corner now, flicks it in, hits the curb, hits the apex, gets it on the power now. Should be a decent effort from Luke Smith. It is third place now, 32.726, and a really nice effort on those medium tyres.
Well, I certainly hyped him up beforehand anyway, so maybe he thought of that when he went on his fast lap. But I gotta say, cracking lap by Luke Smith nonetheless, and certainly a very deserved lap indeed. He certainly looks like a huge talent, and someone that's going to be immensely promising for the McLaren team. And but plenty still to go, and I have to say, even though it may be 4.5 minutes still remaining in this session, that time is still, well, it's a considerable amount of time, should we say. Enough for certainly a couple of fast laps, as long as you string it together, as Dormeyer now makes his way down towards the next left-hander. And of course, all these drivers looking to try and get into Q3 on this occasion. It's going to be a real stiff contest, plenty of talent out on this circuit. as Dormeyer now makes his way around on track. Of course, he's already set a lap time of just over 1 second out of Simon Shooter, who is still holding on to that top spot and enjoying himself, to say the least. That is for sure. We're just waiting for a few others, obviously, to come out on laps. It's very quiet at the moment out on track, as Joe Hannon's making his way out onto the circuit as well. And great showing from the AlphaTauri team, certainly on his behalf. Currently P4, and just over 7, or just under, should I say, 7/10 of a second away from Simon Shooter. But Jack, what's your perspective now as we head towards the final few minutes? Because, of course, it's interesting to see that we haven't seen any lap times from P8 downwards. And obviously, both Mercedes still to get out. They're playing a dangerous game, aren't they, leaving it this late?
Yeah, I think so. And it's interesting to watch. It's quite clear that tyre wear must be a problem around here, because they obviously want to leave it as little wear on these tyres as humanly possible and go out as late as possible. That only leaves them one attempt. So Lewis Welch on his way out now. That's probably going to trigger many of them to come in. So Luke Smith's just come into the pit lane now. Joe Hannon's on an in lap now. But Lewis Welch on his way out of the pit lane right now. But just looking here, Mercedes are taking the tyre blankets off of Jarno Watmir's car. So he's on his way out now. But they're only going to get an out lap, a hot lap as well, in on top of that. So they're leaving this pretty late. Danny Moreno still in the garage at the moment. They just sent Philip Preschnader out as well. So yeah, leaving this quite late. So they're leaving it. They want to take as little tyre wear out of these tyres, as little life as they possibly can out of these tyres, because it seems to me that tyre wear is going to be a big problem around Abu Dhabi.
It certainly will be a huge problem around Abu Dhabi, and certainly around, I think the most trying sectors, Jack, are obviously Sector 3, for example. I mean, Sector 1 can be a bit harsh, certainly if you look at the hairpin and obviously the quick chicanes as well, where you've got the high braking zones, and naturally that can add extra strain on the tyres, certainly if you're having a lockup as well, and that can certainly contribute to many a flat spot, etc. Things of that nature, as now more and more drivers start to make their way out onto the circuit. And Luke Smith still in P3, but you got Simon Shooter, who's still currently leading the charge, P1 at the moment, and very much enjoying that position out on track. He's now out on another outlap once again, and making his way down towards the next left-hander. Chana Kinchi, as I said, out and about as well. And Lewis Welch, of course, who is also looking to try and get himself into Q3. But plenty of quality drivers out on the track here. Jarno Watmir as well, Danny Moreno, the two Mercedes looking to try and get another double. They've done it a few times, Jack. You can't write them off doing it again.
No, absolutely you cannot. So you can see the Mercedes are taking it, well, Danny Moreno in particular, taking it very slow in this outlap, doing the classic revving to burn off the fuel on the way down the back straight. So they really want to keep as little fuel in the car as possible to go for a lap. It's getting a bit congested in Sector 3, George. They're trying to find space for a lap here, and everybody's in the same bit of track at the same time, and this is going to prove a little bit difficult for these guys right now. So we have Joe Hannon, he's retired, he should be safe. Anyway, he's not going to get out for another lap anyway. We're looking at Lewis Welch at the moment. He's a personal best in sector number 1 at 16.68, and that's a very good first sector from Lewis Welch. Only a couple of hundredths off of Simon Shooter's effort. So here he comes down towards the braking zone for the next left-hander. Heavy braking zone here. Chucks it into the left right here. Got to get this stopped and flicking it through. This must be horrible on a pad, trying to get the direction changes right in here. Through the left they go. And I see a couple of cars getting stacked up around here, so he's got to find some space. But it's looking good. Personal best across the board for Lewis Welch. This should get him easily up the order.
It certainly will do. He's currently down in P8 for now without setting a lap time. He's just hightailing it through the next double left now, heading through the next right-hander. And here comes the Haas now. Lewis Welch looking to tickle the top end here on the pad. The pad man making his way round the final corner. Lewis Welch looking to try and decorate his Haas car on top spot. P3 it is. And joins his teammate Chana Kinchi in the top 3. And currently just under 0.6 of a second. Or should I just say just over half a second. Half a second into P3. And I've got to say, that's not exactly the quickest. You probably would have expected a little better from someone of his standard. But nevertheless, currently in the top 10, which is all that really matters. And on medium tyres, that is absolutely scintillating.
Absolutely. Just another quick reminder, Haas in P2 is Matthias van Erven. We keep getting mixed up because it's different on the telemetry than it is to what's on our screens. So van Erven P2, he's gone out on the softs again. Timon Shooter's on another lap right now. He's going to try and get himself clear up the top right now. Coming through the last couple of right-handers, we have Alessio Di Capua going purple in the first sector. Philip Preschnader into third on the mediums. Great effort. And Timon Shooter goes even faster on his soft tyre. Great effort. Otmir into second, 32.291. And it's Barry Burman who goes into second place on his medium tyres. And let's see who's going to make it through right now. It's very, very close across the board. Dylan Warren on the bubble. Joe Hannon is the man in trouble in P10. Alessio Di Capua has gone for the soft tyres. Interesting from the Italian. Not going to go for the soft tyre to start on. Can he make it through is the next question. Have you got to hook up this last part of the lap right now? He went purple in sector 1. That is now purple sector 2. This is going to be the fastest time in the session. Should he hook up this last sector 3 for Alessio Di Capua? Through turn 21 he goes to the line, and here we go for Di Capua. It is fastest, 31.793. That knocks Luke Smith out, but is he on an improvement? The answer is yes. Here comes Luke Smith around the last corner for McLaren on his debut. Can he get into Q3? He's not going to make it into Q3. He waits because he's P11 and he already knew it, and he's happy, and that is great strategy from the McLaren. He saw he was P11, backed out at the last second, and going to take that free tyre choice.
He will indeed. I have to say that is absolutely exceptional stuff indeed. And Alessio Di Capua on the top order. It's going to be absolutely exquisite. And what a statement that is for the Williams team, as we can now look at the final standings in Q2. Di Capua in P1, of course, for Williams. Simon Shooter in P2. Barry Burman makes it into P3. Jarno Watmir into P4 with Danny Moreno P5. Magnus van Erven P6. Philip Preschnader in P7. Alvaro Caraton P8. Lewis Welch P9. Chana Kinchi in P10. You've got Luke Smith down in P11. He's been eliminated, but on medium tyres, he'll get free choice in the race. Dylan Warren also on free choice, but out in this session, as well as Joe Hannon, Antoine Dezalewski, and Andreas Dahlmeier as well. Amazing scenes though, Jack. Epic stuff indeed. Simon Shooter still retains that top order in terms of P2, but imagine that, Alessio Di Capua nailing that top spot, and a great showing there from the Williams team, though there are plenty there on medium tyres heading into Q3.
Yeah, and I'm smiling from a strategy perspective because we've got the front row and a different strategy to the second row. So both soft tyres, well, actually, whoever makes it through, we've got soft tyres and medium tyres across the board. But of course, whoever qualifies, if Jarno or Barry can qualify on pole position, for example, they'll start on the medium tyres, which is absolutely an advantage. Of course, Alessio Di Capua and Van Erven and all those guys are going to have to start on soft tyres, which is going to be, they're going to be very quick in the start, but they'll just wear off very, very quickly. But a great effort. Barry getting the measure of Jarno on the medium tyres. Interesting to look at. Chana Kinchi, another great performance in the Renault, makes it into Q3. Timon Shooter as well, making it into Q3. He's looking very quick here. And let's see whether he can stay in there. And of course, both Haas's are into Q3 as well. Great performance. Matthias van Erven and Lewis Welch have both made it in. Both Williams, both Mercedes, and the single McLaren of Barry Burman. But Luke Smith has done a great effort starting P11.
He certainly has, and he's got his teammate Burman into Q3, so it could be a great day for McLaren, but a great day for Williams as well. Remember, we've still got this title fight, and just look, who are the top three, Jack? Mercedes, Williams, and McLaren. So what could this mean? I mean, obviously, McLaren may not be as much in the title race in terms of that. There's 62 points out of Mercedes. Williams are currently in P2. Mercedes currently in P1, of course, currently leading the way with 44 points, the gap between them and Williams. So Williams need to really pull off a magical finale in this race, that's for sure. But we'll have to wait and see. But naturally, no two better men can get it done than Caraton and Di Capua. Keep your eyes on this one, folks.
Yeah, it really could be. And to be honest, I'm kind of sensing a Williams front row lockout here. They're looking really quick here, but it seems Mercedes, they just save a little bit more in the tank for the pole shootout. So I couldn't really predict anything going into this one, but it's looking very, very intriguing. Barry is, of course, in there as well, doing what he does. He's 7 points off the lead of the championship, of course, has to outscore Otmir today to really keep his title hopes alive. And let's see, Alessio Di Capua, I think, is going to be the thorn in the side of the championship battle because, of course, he's a reserve driver, but when he's here, he fights for wins.
He certainly does. He's a relentless character. And DiCapua currently on an outlap and looking to do the business. And you certainly would not count him out at all. Chanakinchi out as well on a lap as well. Well, we're not sure which one is that, in fact, actually looking at that, Jack. So we've got a Chanakinchi and a Haas, and we've got Chanakinchi and a Renault.
Yeah, let's say we've got Van Erven in the Haas, Chanakinchi in the Renault, if you want to keep up with that. So Renault is the actual real Chanakinchi, and Matthias Van Erven is in the Haas with Lewis Welch. So P6 currently being held by the Renault, P7 currently being held by the Haas of Matthias Van Erven as well. So that is all cleared up there. The first guys on laps as well, to make it even more confusing, but it is Chanakinchi in the Renault, who's the man who's going to set the first time. He's the first man out on a timed lap. Van Erven's following behind him, and you can just see in the background of shot there, Barry Boermand in the number 47 car on his out lap as well. DiCapua begins his lap now as well. So, got to keep an eye on these sector ties with interest.
Certainly do. DiCapua now purple in sector 1, and he's trying to fly as he makes his way through the first sector, now around the Ferrari World Hairpin. And the Williams will be looking to try now and do the same in sector 2. And you wouldn't count him out from doing that. And he's a very rapid driver indeed. We've seen plenty of him in the past. Of course, Jack, you and I have commentated on him in the past. We've also bore witness to him this season on a couple of occasions, a P12 and a P10. So every race he's competed in, he's been on the podium here. Twice raced here in PSGL, twice on the podium. Makes his way now down the stretch. Chanakinchi on top spot with a 132.3. But can DiCapua put a nail in his coffin as well and take that P1 spot away from him? He's looking menacing right now as they come through the next left-hander. Still DiCapua pushing and fighting. There you see the Merc just letting him through there. And that can either be Moreno or Otmir. We'll obviously keep you updated as to who that is. As we're now seeing DiCapua now coming through the latter sector now, hightailing it through the next left. Now turn 19, down towards turn 20 now indeed. As Simon Shooter goes into P1 with a 132.034. And that's another 3/10 quicker. As we're now seeing DiCapua come round. Oh, little mistake there going around the final bend, but comes across the line despite the fact. And I think that was an invalidation. I think he got it wrong around that final corner, Jack.
Yeah, he did get it wrong, and it would have been enough for a provisional pole. A 31.9 was the lap, but he's going to have to go again. But now, purple sector 1 for Barry Boermand. He's the quickest man on the circuit right now in the McLaren, just coming through the slow chicane right now. About a 10th up in the first sector on everybody, a 16.5 first sector, and that is marginally quicker than Danny Moreno on a 16.61 in the first sector. So very close across the board, and Barry's now gone purple in sector 2 as well by a 10th of a second over time. Lewis Welch on a 31.963, looking like very good pace from him today. A purple last sector puts him up to provisional pole, but is the man we're keeping an eye on. That is Barry Boermand in sector 3 right now, underneath the hotel that none of us can afford, through the left-hander at turn 19, down towards turn 20. A bit of oversteer on the way through as well. That might cost him a little bit of time right there. Daniel Moreno going well in the middle sector, but still not quite enough to match Barry Boermand. This should be the pole time for Barry Boermand, and it is a 31.820. Danny Moreno is the man who's trying to match it, but it's not quite enough at the moment from the Spaniard.
No, not at all. Barry Boermand hitting up the top end of 0.144 the difference between him and the very fast Iranian. Barry Boermand looking to try and take revenge against the two Mercedes that have been literally pulling them apart. But as I say that, the Flying Dutchman strikes at the last minute, or certainly at the last minute of the first half of qualifying. Danny Moreno up to join him as well. A Mercedes lockout here halfway through Q3. Exceptional. Otmir with a 131.446, and Moreno just 3/10 shy of that as well. But clearly, as you can see by the timing tower, under a 10th quicker than that of Barry Boermand. But the two Mercedes on top spot already from the get-go. Otmir with a devastation of a lap here in the midway through Q3. Insane, Jack. Absolutely insane.
What a lap from Jarno. Oh my lord, that is a mega time. He's gone 3/10 quicker than Moreno and half a second close to it quicker than Barry Boermand. I can tell you right now, his final sector was 3/10 quicker than anybody. So it's all in the last sector for him. Purple middle and purple final. He wasn't quite on it in sector 1, but he's pulled so much time in the last sector, and that is one of the greatest laps you'll see, cleanest ones in the final sector. So now they know where they need to gain time. It's all in sector 3, 3/10 quicker in the last sector alone for Jarno Wotmere, and I reckon he's going to be very happy with that one.
He will be. He'll be delighted. The Dutchman, I've got to say, we've seen him do some very special things in the past, but that is absolutely exceptional. I have to say, credit to him for that. And Alvaro Caraton now, still yet to put a lap on the board. He's actually invalidated that last lap he was on. And I have to say, that's not a good place to be. Williams still yet to set a time, not even a banker lap here at the start. Of course, the Capua had his invalidated at the very start. And he's still searching, and so is Caraton. But Otmir, I have to say, Jack, are we looking at, is that the P1 time heading into the race?
Oh, it's going to be very hard to beat. Danny Moreno needs to find 0.3 of a second, and Barry needs to find half a second somewhere. I mean, Barry is currently the quickest man in sector number 1, but he loses a 10th in sector 2 and then loses 3 in the last sector, so he's got to tidy that up. I'm sure he knows where he's made the mistakes, but it's going to be the question of how are you going to get 0.3? Because I'm sure, in classic Otmir fashion, he can go quicker than that.
He probably could, Jack. He absolutely could. I wouldn't write him off doing that, I have to say, because if he can do it, given the track temperature is the way it is right now, then why can't he do it later on? I mean, there's no reason why he can't. He's just that good. Do not write off the Dutchman, folks. He will do it again, I'm sure, and he will prove you wrong every time. But the same can be said for the likes of Barry Burman and, of course, Danny Moreno as well. Plenty of exceptional talent here. And I've got to say, I'm just going to laugh here at a comment here in the chat. Charlie L. Jarno only wins because of the car. Brilliant.
Wow. We're bringing that argument to esports. Brilliant.
Why are we? I tell you what, we see that enough on a race weekend, Jack. But I never ever thought we'd see it in league racing.
Yeah, they're not exactly helping it because of the fact they're driving the Mercedes, and it's the world champion currently in the car as well. I mean, you can't win in esports. It's just they had to be in Mercedes. They couldn't have been in McLaren or something to make it a little bit more fun. But nonetheless, still pretty cool. But Danny Moreno on his way out of the pit lane now as well. I could see them revving all the way down the exit of the pit lane, just trying to burn off that excess fuel, which is exactly the tactics that we like to see. So banker laps in for Moreno, banker lap for Barry. They need to really send it on these next few laps, honestly, because Otmir, that's a banker lap from Jarno. I guarantee you he's got another 10th or 2 in that. Yeah,
and I also want to say, Jack, we got a special visitor in the live chat. Hello, Robert Schwartzman. Welcome to PSGL, my friend. I have to say, maybe he's trying to scope out some talent. Could we see Robert Schwartzman in an esports car? We'll have to wait and see. That'd be an interesting treat for you, wouldn't it? But yeah, we're now watching Philip Prejnader out on track. He's gone green in Sector 1. Of course, he would do. He's yet to set a time. But naturally now, as you can see, the amount of cars that are out on the track, that's going to really make things very awkward for him. Lots of slow cars out on outlaps. So now he's got to try and weave his way through this very treacherous Abu Dhabi circuit while there are cars on outlaps. And I have to say, that's going to be very interesting indeed to see whether Philip Prejnader can turn the tide. He's got a lot of work to do, naturally. He has not had a great, certainly a great start to qualify. Well, certainly a great, last few races have been a bit treacherous for him nonetheless, Jack. He really needs an improvement here.
Yeah, he certainly does. He's about 0.2 down on the fastest time at the moment by Jarno Wotmere in sector number 2. Should be enough to maybe get himself between Lewis Welch and time and shootout. He's just keep an eye on his last sector here as he heads through the turn 19 and turn 20, a little bit close to the wall for Philip Prejnader. Through turn 20, he comes down towards turn 21. Got to get this last sector right to make sure your lap is completed down towards the line now, and it is going to be to get himself enough to get himself in front of Lewis Welch. It's a 31.864. Just behind Barry Burman, so I think I'd be happy with that. Barry, by the way, purple sector 1. Once again, he's improving, and he needs to improve because there's been a massive marker laid down by Jarno Wotmere. Jarno just marginally quicker than his personal best in sector number 1, 1,000th of a second to be exact. But Barry is on a push right now, 15.585 in the first sector, and he's got the measure of both Mercs in sector number 1. Let's see the sector 2 split as he heads into the slow chicane, into the right. Got to make sure he doesn't invalidate this lap either. On the power, nice and early, down towards the DRS section now. DRS flap opens up tight to the left-hand side to minimize the amount of track you've got to take up down towards this next braking zone right now, and he's a 10th up on his best time. It's a 32.3 2-3-1, but actually that purple sector taken off him by Alessio Di Capua, who's on a push right now as well. 32.209 is not quite purple. It is purple in sector 1. That's the purple sector 2 time for Barry Burman as well. This is going to be a great lap. He's got to hook up sector 3 to challenge Jarno Watmi right now. Chanakinchi into 4th place. Great effort from the Turkish driver. Here comes Barry Burman into the last corners. Otmir on a 31.3. I told you he had more time in it. Here comes Barry Burman. Can he displace him? The answer is yes, he can, by 4,000ths of a second. Barry Burman on provisional pole. Can anybody beat that at this moment in time? Alessio Di Capua may be the one who can beat him, but the margin is 4/1000ths of a second. Danny Moreno is not improving on this lap either. He's on a personal best in sector 1, but hasn't improved in sector 2. Thyman Shooter slots into P4. Here comes Danny Moreno. This will not be an improvement for the Merc. He comes across in P3. We await Alessio Di Capua, who's on his lap. Purple sector 1. Personal best sector 2. Where does the Williams go right here? He comes across the line. It is P3 and splits the Mercs. It's a great effort from the Italian, but Barry Burman by 4/1000ths of a second is on pole for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Jack, I cannot believe what we've just seen, and we didn't think it could be broken. Jarno, it looked like he had it all served up there with halfway to go in Q3, but he's been toppled by Barry Burman. A 131.360 is enough to take the pole position here in Q3. Exceptional step from the McLaren. Jarno Otmir in P2 for Mercedes, a 131.364. He did improve on that first lap, but not enough to hold on to pole. Alessio Di Capua in P3, a dynamic lap that saw him take purple in sector 1. Danny Moreno P4 with Thyman Shooter P5, Chanakinchi P6, Philip Prejeda P7, Lewis Welch P8, Magnus van Erven P9, and Alvaro Caraton P10, Jack. But Barry Burman, where did that come from? What on earth was that?
Wow, what a lap. I mean, he absolutely nailed that last sector as well. It was the one that he had to nail. Just having a look at these sector times now, it wasn't really a purple lap across the board. It was just personal best across the board. He was slightly slower than Jarno in the last sector, slightly slower in the middle, and just slightly faster in sector 1. So he made all that time up in sector 1 and lost tiny amounts in sector 2 and 3, but 4/1000ths of a second. They're both starting on the medium compound tyre as well, of course. But that is just so spicy for the championship. They're the 2 championship leaders. Barry's got in front, and crucially, Di Capua's put himself between both Mercs, and he's on the soft tyres.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be a fascinating I got to say, fascinating race. Certainly at the start anyway. I mean, remember, they got to try and get through turn 1 first. And that turn 1 is not easy, folks. I can tell you that. It's very, very treacherous. Naturally, we've seen lots of these drivers certainly go full pelt, full throttle down through all these bends. Naturally, many of an occurrence has happened at turn 1 on various tracks we visited. Naturally, Abu Dhabi is no different. And I have to say, all of these guys know that there's a lot on the line tonight. Mercedes can win the title tonight should results go their way. And I have to say, it's going to be a fascinating contest. We cannot wait to see what will happen. They're just about to head on their formation lap, Jack. What are your feelings heading into the race? Obviously, Alvaro Caraton, starting where he is in P10. He was your banker last week. You've obviously opted differently today with Alessio Di Capua. You must be feeling a lot better now, given those circumstances right now.
Yeah, slightly better. I mean, obviously Alvaro, I'd imagine, has had probably some kind of hardware problem again because he's not been able to set a lap. Maybe something going on with the wheel, the brakes, or something. That's actually the reason we haven't got Josh Idaway here. He's had a faulty throttle pedal. That's, of course, provided problems for him. But Alessio on the soft compound tyre. I'm going to make a prediction. I think Di Capua is going to get in front of Jarno into turn 1. I don't think he's going to take the lead, but I reckon he's going to slot himself between these two.
Yeah, well, you could well do. Do not write him off. I think anything can happen in this race, folks. I want to hear your predictions for this race. Of course, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It's going to be sensational. I do not want you to miss it. And I just cannot wait to... It's just going to be a phenomenal thing to witness. Certainly some of the best in the world coming here at Abu Dhabi. A lot of people give it a lot of stick. But I have to say, given the fact that we are here and we've got the grid that we have, I think you guys are going to be in for a real treat, I have to say. So do not go away, folks. Do not turn off your TV sets. You're going to be in for an exceptional treat indeed. It's going to be a fiesta of racing. make sure you stay tuned. It's going to be epic. If you haven't done so already as well, folks, please make sure that you leave a subscribe and also leave a like on the video as well. You can check out me and Jack on Twitter as well, at George Morgan TV, at Jack C Coms. Check out PSGL at PS Gaming League as well. But as we can now witness, all of these drivers now making their way around the track. Boromand on top spot, Otmir on top spot, 2 medium sets of tyres on the front row of the grid. Jack, it can't get better than this.
No, and I thought it was interesting. Otmir is not hanging around. He wants to get to the grid first, but Barry is leaving him hanging a little bit here. He wants him to wait. So obviously now it's going to be Barry lining up on the pole position. De Capua in behind Barry Borman. There's not really a lot of space. He's got to get the start to get himself there. Danny Moreno needs a good one as well. Thyman Shootout on the softs as well. Watch out for him as well. He's going to be mega off the line as well. But this is going to be brilliant. Championship is teed up beautifully. Let's see how this goes.
Absolutely. They're just about to make their way out onto the grid. Carl Lundy, George Morgan, P1. Not this time, Carter, unfortunately. Here come the lights. First light, second light, third light, fourth light, the fifth light. And it's pedal to the metal. Go, 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 go. Barry Burrowman already so for the getaway. The Flying Dutchman, Jarno Otmir, scoops him up heading into turn 1. Alessio Di Capua in behind the 2 has a perfect view of the McLaren and the Mercedes cruising through sector 1. Otmir was better at the start. There's drama in the back there. You can see Danny Moreno shooting up in a P4. Not to mention in mind as well a tussle between the Haas as well as the Alfa Romeo. That being Thyman Shooter who grabs Lewis Welch there at the get-go, but Lewis Welch hanging in there, wheel to wheel, down the straight now, but it's going to be Thyman Shooter with the advantage, but that's not the story. Otmir leads here in lap 1 of 28.
Barry's trying to come back at him up the inside already, side by side between the two championship contenders. Barry tried it, Jarno defended beautifully there, but great start from Otmir, and he managed to slot up the inside of Barry Boer. Just a better reaction time, better traction all the way through, but now this is where things get fun. Jarno has track position. We've got Alessio Di Capua in behind on the soft compound tyre trying to make things work, but Barry's lost track position immediately. He'll be kicking himself with that one, and Otmir now got clean air, but I don't think this is going to be the end of it. This going to be a great scrap between these two. De Capua, he's the one. He's got to get through on these soft tires now.
He has indeed, and he's really got to push. He's got nothing to. Well, he can't leave anything to chance, Jack. I have to say, it's a huge gamble at this moment in time. Naturally, he's got 2 medium tyres, 2 medium tyre cars right in front of him here. Jarno Otmir leading them round. Barry Burrowman in behind as well, under pressure from Alessio Di Capua as well, who needs to try and get past ASAP. It's never been more prevalent than right now as they come through turn 1 here. Jarno Otmir sets the fastest lap already from the get-go. No surprise there as they come through sector 1. The Mercedes loving life currently on top spot as they whittle their way through the first sector here in lap 2, and still Burrowman trying to land down a charge here on Jarno. Does not want to lose it here at the start of this race. Alessio Di Capua right on his tail as they come round the Ferrari World hairpin now, and as they do so, maybe a chance here for Alessio on this straight. He needs to get going ASAP, Jack.
Yeah, he really does. He's got to get that overtake gone. He's not using any of it. Really crucial for Barry. He's got to stay in the slipstream, and he's got to stay in the DRS zone of Jarno Otmir. You can see, look how powerful the slipstream is. Could be a thing as well. Different setups on the cars, maybe less wing on the front end of Barry Burrowman's car, just allowing him to close up a little bit more. DRS enabled on the next lap, of course, but Otmir not breaking DRS, which is what he has to do to get away from that man, Barry Burrowman. De Capua is not making progress here, and those tyres are going to go off very quickly, those soft tyres. So through the middle sector they come. Otmir not getting away. DRS will be enabled. There's the first penalty for Matthias van Erven. 3-second time penalty in P7 for him. That's a shame, of course, so early on. He's running P7 just behind his teammate Lewis Welch, but the top 5 have already broken away. De Capua now getting very close to the back of Barry Burrowman, but DRS enabled on this lap by. This is where things are going to get really spicy now.
It's going to get intriguing. The Williams now really plugging into the back of Barry Burrowman, and I have to say, do not count out a potential move here, a desperado move to say the least. Fastest lap is being currently owned by multiple drivers down this grid, and it looks like Matthias van Erven has got here at this moment in time. Of course, currently labelled Chanakinchi, but remember, that is Mattis van Erven, folks. He has got the fastest lap here in the race so far. Barry Burman still trying to keep the Williams in behind him, at least for the time being. Coming through the next chicane here at turns 5 and 6. Now about to run the Ferrari World hairpin at turn 7. It's still wheel to wheel currently. We're on lap 3 of 28. A great chance here for a potential overtake. Could the DRS be used here as they make their way through? Opening it up does Barry Burman. Can Alessio Di Capua get the straight line speed he so desperately needs here as they make their way down towards turn 8? Still no move in sight. Alessio left frustrated yet again, though he might try something in between turns 10 and 11.
Well, he's got another DRS zone coming up now. You can see Otmir getting away in the traction zones, but again, Di Capua is not able to gain on the way down into the braking zone for the next left, so no way through for him yet. Just a DRS train at the moment being formed, but crucially for Otmir, he's not been able to get away from Barry to break the DRS. He's having to use a little bit more ERS to try and stay in front, but he's still got track position, which is so important around here, and the whole field is still together all the way down to P20. They're still in a big long train. Di Capua, you can see he closes up in sector 3 on those grippy soft tyres, but just the dirty air plus the DRS train, he's not able to make any progress. So that strategy of softs may not pay off for him. He's going to have to already be thinking about an undercut.
Yeah, he must be. They're still all in a string, though. Still plenty of train here, and certainly in this DRS. We're in the early offings of this race. Lewis Welch picking up the fastest lap already, and credit to him. He's right in the fight. The two Haas cars, currently P6 and 7. Mattis van Erven and Lewis Welch doing the business here. And as they make their way through Sector 1 again, through turns 5 and 6, now into turn 7, still Alessio Di Capua trying to make a name here, trying to at least try and jump. Barry Burman, of course, in the McLaren is getting really feisty up at the top end. Danny Moreno in behind as well, watching it all unfurl. Plenty here, plenty of tight racing. Nothing separates any of them as they hightail their way down towards the next left-hander. Still Thyman Shooter trying to grab on Danny Moreno. Lewis Welch in behind as well. But look at this, Barry Burman doing a sterling job of keeping this Williams behind. It's getting desperate, but here comes Di Capua. Can he get close enough? It looks like no, not on this occasion. Still trying to garner some sort of pace here against the McLaren. Alessio Di Capua is not having the time of his life right now, Jack.
Yeah, but he's got loads of ERS, George, to go for an attack. He's always got a full charge of battery, while the guys in front of him have half a battery charge in the battery. So Di Capua is saving it up for an attack, and he will use it when he feels it necessary to use. So he's currently holding station, charging up the battery, because I think, George, what I'm thinking is, if he's going to get past Barry, he wants to get past Jarno on the same lap.
Well, that would be probably a sensible decision. So maybe hoping, or maybe just go a little bit longer into the race. Maybe then try and do something. But I have to say, it's a huge gamble. We'll have to wait and see. Naturally, whenever someone qualifies on the medium tyres and takes the top end, it always makes things a little bit devastating. Certainly here in this race at Abu Dhabi, things are no different as they come round the first sector once again. Still Otmir on top. Di Capua still trying to attack Borraman in P2. Danny Moreno in behind as well, with Thyman Shooter for company there in P5 as they make their way now round towards the Ferrari World hairpin once again. You can see there the cascade of cars there making their way through, still all in a perfect string as they're now making their way down the stretch. Still Alvaro Caraton, just to remind you folks, in P10, not able to garner any advantage from the start-finish line, so that Williams will still need to put in a lot of effort to try and get past the likes of Philip Presnader and Chanakinchi.
Yeah, he's going to have to try really hard. Alvaro Caraton is stuck behind Philip Presnader and not able to make any inroads. Barry a little bit closer to Otmir on this lap, staying in that slipstream, not letting him have it. He's not letting him get away, and that's so crucial because he knows he's in the championship fight with this man, and he needs to finish in front of him today to bring that gap closer. But there's still lots of time left in this race, still lots of strategy to come in this race, and Barry, I think, I guarantee he's already put that bad start behind him. He's already focusing in front to try and get past this man, and well, it's going to be very hard to do it, but he's going to try his best to stick in with it. He was disappointed after last week. I think he's out for a race win. He's had a long dry spell. Of course, he missed a lot of rounds with getting his new rig, and of course he's had a long dry spell without a win, and he'd love to try and stop Jarno Otmir from going 3 in a row. He
will indeed, and I have to say, just look at the tyre difference there. I mean, just look at it. There's Alessio Di Capua's tyres on the rears. They're really taking a hammering, and his fronts are starting to dissipate as well. 69% on the front right, but just look at it, amber on the rear tyres. That just goes to show how tough it is, certainly around this circuit. Yeah, you're pushing the car through these sectors, and it really does put a lot of leather on the tyres. You've got to be really careful, and certainly it's going to really cause havoc to Alessio Di Capua's race and could make him a sitting duck here against the likes of Danny Moreno, who is still there and in the offering for a potential fight. He is managing to really draw away, as you see Barry Burman getting closer to Jarno Watmere, with Alessio Di Capua locking up as well in behind, and that's certainly not going to do his tyres any good either. But look at Danny Moreno getting closer and closer here. The machine maybe looking to try and make a move here in before the next chicane, and you can see there Alessio maybe trying some sort of defensive action there in front of the Mercedes, but it's getting closer and closer at the top end. Nothing separates them, and certainly if it carries on like this, it's going to play into the hands of the Mercedes team.
It certainly is, yeah, because Moreno, if he wants to get himself involved here, he needs to get himself in front of Di Capua and cause issues for Barry Burman, because of course Mercedes, they want to wrap up that Constructors' title today, which is exactly what they need to do. Williams not running well. They've only got Di Capua P3, Alvaro Carreton in the points in P10, but of course Di Capua on a different strategy to the rest of the field right now as they come across the start-finish line for it to begin lap number 7 of 28. So lots of time for things to change in this race. It seems to me that Barry very quick down the straights into the slow chicane, but Otmir just consistently better in the traction zones, able to get away from Barry. But of course, Barry with a little bit more ERS charge, he's able to save it behind Otmir. He's been saving that for a little while now, up to about 60% charge in that battery versus 50% for Otmir. It's obviously going to be impossible for Otmir to be able to save out in clean air. So now with DRS, you'll see the slipstream is just immensely powerful here at Abu Dhabi.
It certainly is just that. The slipstream certainly down the long straights. That is where, of course, you can garner it, and that is why the likes of the straights between 2 and 7 and 8, and of course 10 and 11 are that bit dangerous as they come out now on the stretch once again. And once again, Di Capua trying to find something against Barry Burman, but he's not finding anything right now. Still on top is Jarno Watmere. Look at this. I have to say, you couldn't get them more closer if you asked. I have to say, just making their way through turns 11 and 12 up through 13, and Jarno still very much on top, but still Barry Burman holding off Alessio Di Capua. That is the fight. He's trying to hold off as long as he can keep the Mercedes, or the Williams behind him, sorry. He can challenge the Mercedes of Jarno Watmere, and it's getting very thrilling indeed. Just look at this. Moreno as well trying to garner on Alessio Di Capua. Nearly a second delta between the two. But we'll have to wait and see how this unfurls. But Otmir looks to have the pace right now, well, it benefits him having Barry Burman under this kind of pressure, Jack.
Yeah, it certainly does, and it seems to me now that definitely Jarno running more wing on that car, because he pulls away in Sector 3, but Barry, in these conditions right here, these fast corners, he's able to get that time back, so you can see the different kind of styles of driving coming into play right now. That gap went out to 0.6 of a second, comes down to half a second right now, and it'll come down even further when they go down to the back straight once again. So really interesting to see the difference in the setups in the car. You'll see how much Barry will close up in the slipstream with that extra little bit of front wing that he's got taken off that car, and Otmir consistently better in the traction, better in Sector 3, and you can see it's a rocket ship in the straight line, that McLaren.
It is, absolutely, and it's doing enough to keep Di Capua behind, which is absolutely exceptional indeed. But as we now watch them now hightail it once again, you can still see Alessio Di Capua trying all his worth to try and garner here on the McLaren of Barry Burman, but utilising the DRS is Barry Burman, keeping that McLaren ahead of the Williams indeed, and making certainly Alessio's trip a little bit more difficult. We're also seeing a battle here between the AlphaTauri of what looks to be Joe Hannon under the pressure of Dylan Warren, who comes around the next left-hander. The Racing Point just can't find a way through as they make their way through Sector 3. Still the AlphaTauri of Joe Hannon holding his own here, but Dylan Warren looks like a serious predator right now as they come through the next left. Still the Racing Point in with a chance, but he's got something else to worry about, because Leveche is right in behind and trying to gain here on that Racing Point. The AlphaTauri might be saved, at least for now, because here they come now. Di Capua now has boxed. Di Capua is boxed, Jack.
Yeah, and Matthias Van Herven's come in to retire that car as well, but De Capua, I think that's the right choice because he's getting held in that train, needs to try and force the issue here onto the medium tyres he goes and gets himself some clean air. He's going to come out last of the pecking order, but with lots of clean air in front of him, so a very good choice by Alessio De Capua, and that's, I think, going to force the issue up further. Of course, these guys will go further in this race due to the fact they're on the medium tyre as well, but Alessio De Capua with clean air in front of him now. Let's see what he can do.
Absolutely, and certainly on a fresher set of tyres, let's see what he can certainly do. Caraton moving up into P6, going past what looks to be Chan Akinci there, and in behind as well, you've got Philip Presnader in P8 as well, but Caraton now starting to make his way up through the field, but he's got a huge deficit to garner on Lewis Welch, and that's going to be a real tough task indeed, as Simon Shooter gets dispatched by Lewis Welch as well. The pad man, indeed, Lewis Welch, up into P4 with a sterling drive, and certainly needs to do just that on his compounded tyre, making his way through on the mediums. Exceptional race indeed. Seems to have come into his own, Jack, at the latter part of the season, and certainly that'll go a long way for Haas in this race.
Yeah, now, up front, talk about pressure. Barry Burmand in a familiar territory. Mercedes sandwich. He's got Moreno behind him now. Otmir in front of him. And he's the man who's mixing it up with these guys up front. He's boxing. Barry's boxing really early in this race on the medium tyres. What's he thinking here? He's trying to force the Mercedes to try and respond to him. But that is a really intriguing choice from McLaren. They're bringing Barry Burmand in. He's gone on to another set of the medium tyres. That seems quite early.
It does indeed, Jack. It's early, but it's a bold strategy, and he's going to try and take him to the end. This could be a real crucial point in the race. 2.5 second stop by the McLaren team out to the pit lane, under 20 seconds. So exceptional indeed by those, well, certainly those in the garage as they come out to the pit lane now. Barry Burmand needs to get on a charge now on those mediums, making or trying to make the undercut work. Remember, he has been done on many an occasion by the Mercedes team this season. Could this be the one time the McLaren team put a spoke in the Mercedes plan? You can imagine now that Jarno Otmir and Moreno are having a chat in each other's ears right now and sort of thinking, you know, what are the McLaren team doing here? What is Barry Burmand coming up with in order to try and land a blow here on this top team? It's going to be very interesting. Certainly a huge challenge in the offing. Barry with a lot of work to do.
Yeah, I'm very interested by that choice because I think what he's done is he's forced himself into a two-stop. And, George, he lost out to De Capua because he's lost track position to Alessio De Capua because he pitted a lap earlier. So now we know the undercut is very powerful here. So it's really going to be now a case Mercedes have got to work together, open out that gap as big as they can. You can see them running together. Otmir giving Moreno the DRS, and they will work in tandem beautifully, like we've seen it so many times throughout the season. They're not going to respond to Barry on this lap. And I think track position is exactly what they need to keep. And Otmir will be relieved now. Simon Shooter pits right now. But Otmir will be relieved that he's got Danny in his mirrors because he knows that he's not going to end up in a fight with him.
No, not at all. And just look at this. We've got a fascinating contest in the midfield as Simon Shooter comes into the pit lane as well to make a change. Still currently, though, in the midst here, we got Domenico Lavecce as well as Antoine de Zalewski there as well in P10. Dylan Warren there as well. And just look at that, Lavecce right in between two racing points as he was before. But still we see Dylan Warren trying to fire back at Joe Hannon, who he himself is trying to fight against Chan Akinci as they come down the straight now once again. In behind, just look at the train of cars. Luke Smith in the mix as well with Andreas Dormeyer. Tom Martinez there as well with Yari Fitz in P15. Just a high octane string of cars here making their way through this track. Scintillating to see. Chan Akinci though under a lot of pressure. Joe Hannon looking extremely dangerous here, Jack.
Yeah, he is. He got a great result last time out as well, so he wants to replicate that if he possibly can. But yeah, really intriguing stuff here because, of course, now because Barry's box and put another set of meters, he's going to have to stop again because he started on the medium tyre. He's going to go on the softs at the end. So he's going to be very quick at the end. But if Mercedes work together here, I reckon they're going to go on to a one-stop strategy and get to the end. But this is really mixed it up in the strategy department, of course. But we know, because those two are out front together, we know exactly what they're thinking. Just get as far in front as they possibly can. Work together, don't battle, and get themselves a result.
Absolutely. It's just a case of sitting in, focusing, just get your head down, get to work, get the pace out of the car, and certainly that's what a lot of these guys need to do right now. That midfield battle, I have to say, I do not envy them right now. It's going to be so tight in that midst as Barry Burman sets the fastest lap on the medium tyres. That's what he needs to do, and really needs to go for it here, because naturally, as you quite rightly said, he was out behind Di Capua, which was a very crucial point in the race, but he is closing up slowly on the Williams, as I can see it, as we're now watching the AlphaTauri of Joe Hannon make his way through, trying to close here on Chanakinchi. Might yet get a chance here as they come down the stretch now with DRS open. A great chance here for Joe Hannon and the AlphaTauri coming past the Renault here, down towards the next left-hander at turn 11. The AlphaTauri done it before the corner. Brilliant stuff indeed there from Joe Hannon, and a testament to his quality and performances towards the tail end of this season. He's been absolutely brilliant, Jack.
Yeah, he really has. Joe Hannon, I think he's kind of coming into his own in this late phase of the season. Chanakinchi going to try and come back at him here into this next left-hander, but not quite close enough on the brakes to get it done as Tom Martinez dispatches Andreas Dormeyer at the same time. Now, problems for these guys. Di Capua and Barry have caught up to traffic. Oh, that was close between Barry and Jorge Alberola. Di Capua made it through, but Barry is stuck behind him, and now he's going to have to try and make an overtake here. That could have been a crucial moment in this race. Di Capua clearing the traffic early, and Barry having to back off to avoid contact with Jorge Alberola, and Di Capua has now managed to get himself out of the DRS of Barry Boromant. Now, how crucial could that have been, because they've got a lot of traffic to get through here, and I reckon Mercedes would have known that.
Yeah, they will indeed, and I have to say they're going to be rubbing their hands together if they could take it off the steering wheels for at least 2 seconds. Exceptional indeed, as they're now making their way down towards turn 1 yet again. Barry Burman nearly coming a cropper in that last lap, lap 12 and 28, but now making his way through sector 1 in front of him. Alessio Di Capua still, and we got a safety car, Jack, a safety car. Dylan Warren out of the race. Not sure quite what happened. It looks like there's some debris on the track. The wheels off on the racing point. Dylan Warren out of the race here at Abu Dhabi.
Well, that is exactly what Mercedes needed. Oh, and Alvaro Caraton's got a drive-through for speeding under the safety car. Mercedes now have got a free pit stop under the safety car as well, and that might have spelled the end of the chances for these two down here, Di Capua and Barry Borman now, because they've stopped earlier, and Otmir and Danny will get a free pit stop. Lewis Welch will get a free pit stop, and all these guys up here will get free pit stops. Tom Martinez has just pitted under the safety car, of course, and come out just as it came out, and now they're on fresh soft tires, so watch out for those guys. But all those guys in front of Di Capua and Barry Borman are going to get free pit stops. So let's see what happens here. But that's exactly what the two Mercedes will want to see. Now, it won't be exactly what they want. Ideally, they would have wanted it to happen while they were in the pit lane, which would have been, of course, comedic timing. But let's see what they do. I'm sure they're going to take the pit stop because it'll lose them less time. It
will indeed, and you can imagine that Lewis Welch, maybe Caraton as well, may follow them in. And indeed, Jarno Otmir the first to box. Will they double stack? That is the next question.
No, they can't.
They can't double stack. So no, Danny Moreno stays out on track. So he will now lead this race. He's on the medium tyres, so obviously his strategy will still carry on. Naturally, not all these guys are going to be able to box, so let's wait and see what occurs here. Still Moreno out on track. Prejnator moves up into P2 as a result. Leveche comes through into P3, and Otmir now crucially out in P4, which suits him down to the ground. The Flying Dutchman in a very good area of the circuit, certainly a very good area of the classification. Soft tyres now against a Barry Burman who is going to be on mediums and has been on them longer, Jack.
Yeah, so that is exactly what he wanted to see. Now, ideally he would have wanted to have Barry behind him, but now, of course, he's going to have those fresh soft tyres to use and to make good use of them as well. So, as well, Di Capua has come in and boxed for another set of the medium tyres. He's now going to be 16th on the grid. He's gone for another set of medium tyres. He should be safe to the end of the Grand Prix. And unfortunately for Barry, he's going to have to box again because he hasn't used a set of the soft tyres. So I reckon, George, he cannot pit at this moment in time. Ideally, it would have been happened for him further down in the race, but he's going to have to box again, and he's going to fall a long way down the order, whether he decides to box for softs now to lose minimal time. But Barry, this has not worked out for him at all.
No, it has not. I have to say it's put him in a very, very treacherous position. And, of course, in behind now, you can see well, certainly in front of Otmir there, the cars begin to string themselves along. Boromand at the tail end of that initial queue, made up of Moreno, Prejnader, and Leveche. Jack, just to get some clarification for the audience at home, obviously we got 2 Leveches showing on the timing tower. P3, is that Leveche and his 10th Yamulo?
All the way around. Yamulo P3, Leveche P10.
There you go. Yamulo P3, Leveche P10. Folks at home, just to give you an update as to what's going on at Red Bull. And they're making their way through now. Otmir around the next left. They're about to come through the final sector, and they will begin the next lap as well under the safety car as well, as they make their way around the final couple of bends. Of course, this could be massive in the context of the championship, Jack, because obviously Williams not in an ideal situation. De Capua obviously boxing onto that fresh set of mediums, but he, like I said before, he's got a long trail of cars to get through. It's going to be a huge piece of work for him to do just that. And Caraton, he is in for the fight of his life too, so it's not an ideal day for Williams.
No, it really isn't. And De Capua, of course, he needs those softs to go off. That's his plan. Because the softs really will only last about 7 or 8 laps, roughly speaking, before they get into the danger range. So De Capua is safe to the end now. He's done every compound. He started on the soft tyre, remember, boxed onto medium tyres, and now he's done his second stop and gone onto the medium tyres as well. So I love the fact as well on the YouTube chat, of course, make sure to get involved. So much talk going on about the strategy because it's just been thrown up in the air right now. We don't know who's doing what. And of course, Barry is going to have to stop again to go onto a set of soft compound tyre. And he knows that. So this is a really tough position for him to be in right now. Danny Moreno has not boxed yet at all. He's staying out, getting track position. Philip Prejnader has not stopped yet in this Grand Prix. Neither has Dario Yamulo. Everybody else behind them has, and this is really intriguing. So we're going to wait to see if the safety car is going to come in this lap, or if we're going to get another lap. But this is really, really intriguing stuff right now. But the only saving grace for Barry, there's a safety car in this lap. The only saving grace for Barry is that he's got track position over Otmir.
He does indeed, but they're going to be tangling together. Jarno is going to want to get past Boromand ASAP, utilise those softs as best he can, and don't forget as well, he's got Yamulo in P3, Prejnader and Moreno, all of them yet to pit. We'll just give you the pit stop news now as well, folks. There it is, Boromand pitting. Everyone from P4 downwards have pit. De Capua and, of course, Luke Smith have boxed twice. The only ones not to box are Yamulo, Prejnader and Moreno up in the top 3. So Moreno is still got a boxer as Prejnader and of course Yamulo. So Boromand technically at this moment in time net leader of this race. Though in behind though, Otmir on those soft tyres. Can he get them to the end? That is the big question. I'd imagine he'll give it a try. Why in the world not? He might be able to do so given the fact that they are under safety car at this moment in time, albeit it's coming in this lap. But we'll have to wait and see how this unfolds. It's very intriguing, folks. We could have a new winner tonight in PSGL should matters change. Lewis Welch, don't forget, in behind him, as well as Simon Shooter.
Oh, no!
And Barry Boromand, a 5-second penalty, a severe collision with Dario Yamulo, and that is going to scupper him because here comes Boromand now. Round turn 1. He has gone past him, so has Otmir. Otmir has made the overtake. The Red Bull is going slow. Lewis Welch is coming through, but as they put pedal to the metal for the second time in this race, Moreno leads with Prejnader in second. Boromand, no. 5 seconds of penalties. Absolutely devastating.
Oh, Barry's going to be absolutely kicking himself with that up the inside of Philip Prejnader, taking no prisoners. Otmir is going with him now as well, but surely that's Barry's day done. There's no way he can come back from this as well. It might get removed, but we'll keep an eye on the stewards room. Lewis Welch on the charge as well, side by side with Philip Prejnader. He's on the fresh soft tyres up the inside. Prejnader tries to go around the outside, he can't do it, but Otmir now, this is the chance for him. He's trying to get away and get himself in front of Barry, but Barry's got to try and keep that track position as long as he can. Moreno is the man in trouble. He has not boxed yet, and he couldn't under the safety car, and he now is going to lose a lot of positions once he has to pit, of course. But Barry's all over him on those newer medium tyres. But Oh, that's a horrible thing to happen to Barry Burman in the last corner. 5-second penalty, and when he boxes, George is going to have to serve it.
He will indeed. Not ideal at all for Barry Burman, and that is going to really scupper his chances in this Grand Prix here at Abu Dhabi. Just look at Barry Burman probing all over the other Mercedes of Danny Moreno. Still yet to pit is the machine, Danny Moreno. He doesn't box this time. He's going to try and hold up Barry Burman. It might give Otmir a way through here. Very, very intriguing tactics here by Mercedes, and if he can slow him up, it'll give the Dutchman a chance potentially to go through and go past him, effectively relieving the pressure off Moreno himself as they come through the first sector yet again. Very soon, as Domenico Lavecce retires from the session, they come down towards the next chicane here in Sector 1, still in height.
Safety car.
And we got another safety car. Scenes here, guys, scenes here, as we have another safety car, and I believe that must have been due to Domenico Lavecce.
Whoa, what is going on tonight? It's another safety car here, and that has saved Danny Moreno. It's not, of course, he's going to lose still a lot of positions, but he'll be able to pit under the safety car. But now Barry is really in trouble, because now this has not worked out at all. Well, it's actually, no, it's not. It saved him, actually, for Barry. Sorry, I'm mixing up who's who now. It's, wow, this is incredible what's going on here. So Lavecce crashing has caused another safety car here at Abu Dhabi. And Barry's going to have to, of course, serve this 5-second penalty in the pits, but of course it won't matter as much under the safety car. Of course, if this was real life, he wouldn't be allowed to serve it under the safety car, but you can, as far as I know, do it in the game, so that will help him out. But Danny Moreno, I think he'll be breathing a sigh of relief that another safety car has come up, because he would have lost so much time, and now he's going to lose minimal time in the pit lane thanks to that extra safety car that has come out here at Abu Dhabi. I think we haven't had a safety car all season, George, as far as I remember this, and we've had 2 in one day.
Absolutely incredible, Jack. I was just about to say, funnily enough, that we haven't had one all season, and yet we come here to Abu Dhabi and we have 2 at this circuit, and Barry's actually coming in. Barry Burman coming in to make a change. Could it be another pair of softs? Will he try and take it to the distance? Danny Moreno, a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and that is another blow. Scenes here, folks. I cannot believe what we're witnessing. It's absolute carnage out there at the moment. And Otmir currently on top spot. Now he's got clean air on relatively fresh tyres. The safety car will save the tread on that compound. Lewis Welch in with a cracking chance as well of getting a really good result in this race today. Alvaro Caraton has been brought straight into it as well. In behind, you got Thyman Shooter, who has a chance. Joe Hannon, who has been really good around this circuit today as well. Antoine de Zalewski on his first start in PSGL, also in with a chance. And Tom Martinez, of all people, Jack, he's in the top 10 as well. Fascinating stuff here.
Yeah, this is amazing stuff. And thing is, George, we don't know if these softs can go to the end, because Otmir's already done 3 laps in them, albeit one of them, he's only done half a lap under race speed, but you have 10 laps to go. It's going to be so tight whether he can get to the end of this race on that set of soft tyres. Now, for Barry and Danny, of course, they'll have a couple of laps under the safety car. They should be okay, but now Danny's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Barry will, of course, get that track position. So this has totally mixed up the order right now here at PSGL. And, well, this is going to be some scene, because we're going to have to witness Danny Moreno and Barry Burman try to get their way through the field, which is going to be some spectacle. Otmir now, I mean, this is hard for him, because he's in the box seat at the moment. I think he knows he's going to have to really look after those tyres. The man who's really kind of in the best position at the moment is, depending on whether they can get in front of Otmir, of course. We've got, of course, Thyman Shooter and P4 on the medium tyres. But Joe Hannon, of course, the guys in front have got penalties. This could really be a podium chance for Joe Hannon.
It could be. It could very well be. And there's got to say, it's intriguing. In behind as well, Thyman Shooter on mediums. Keep an eye out for him as well. Dzalewski right there in the mix. Martinez, what could he do at the end? I mean, I have to say, it's anyone's race at this point. 18 laps of 28. We got 10 laps left, Jack. it's going to be intriguing. Martinez now currently in P5. He's boxing now. He's going to be changing his tyres.
Danny Moreno.
And Danny Moreno is in the pits as well. So I'm not sure what's going on here, Jack. He's obviously just been in to make a change. So maybe, again, choosing to pick a different compound. That's a very strange occurrence here.
No, George, he's serving his penalty, I think. He's serving the 5 seconds that he picked up for the speeding a pit lane. Now a new set of soft tyres, but that's dropped him right to the back of the order. I think it was a smart decision anyway from Danny Moreno to serve it under the safety car. So he will close right up to the very back of the pack. But this is very, very intriguing stuff. That won't be good for Merck because they're trying to win the Constructors. And right now, Williams are currently the ones who may be able to score more points. They're currently sitting 3rd. 9th at the moment with DeCapua P9 on those mediums, of course, but of course he has a penalty as well, which is not good for him. The penalty, of course, he's got 5 seconds for a earlier thing that happened. Of course, I think it was under the safety car. I think he sped and ignored yellow flags. I think it was that he picked it up for. That might get removed. But wow, this is crazy. I reckon the safety car is going to come in at the end of this lap, and pressure now. It's on Otmir, but it's also on Barry because he's got to try and put on a Charles Leclerc type F2 performance to come through from 12th up to try and get himself on the podium.
Well, don't write him off, Jack. He might yet do it. I have to say, plenty of them out on this track now, and the safety car, we can confirm, is in this lap. It's been a very thrilling race, folks. Lots happening, and I got to say, I don't think we've had quite this kind of action all season, that's for sure. Jarno now trying to keep his tyres warm. You have to say the safety car might have helped him out here. Obviously less strain on the compound, and I have to say with 9 laps left to go, it could well be that might help Otmir heading through this race. But look at Lewis Welch. He has a chance here to really upset the cards. Caraton right up there as well in P3. And you've got Thyman Shooter in P4 as well. Joe Hannon in the mix, as we've said already. Jorge Albarola, the 2 AlphaTauris currently in the top 10 right now. Big points in the offing for AlphaTauri as they come through the next left once again. Very soon they'll be coming around the final 2 bends on this lap. And in behind you see Alessio Di Capua as well, who's managed to march his way through the field. We've had no less than 4 DNFs in this race, which has been absolutely thrilling as they get underway. Pedal to the metal for the 3rd time in this race. Alvaro Caraton in P3 trying to make his way through the field already. There's a slowdown lap. Caraton's disqualified. Disqualification for Caraton. Unbelievable. And that surely is his opportunity for Drivers' Championship glory out of the question.
Well, he's done for. That is absolutely unbelievable. Ignoring a drive-through penalty for Alvaro Caraton. I've never seen that before, ever, in this game. And he's just picked up a disqualification from this race. And that is very harsh. Alvaro Caraton, title hopes are done. Barry Borman is not messing around right now. He's already up a position on Chana Kinchi. He's now going to try and get past his teammate Luke Smith down into the braking zone here already, slipstreaming past the McLaren on the inside, up to P9, back in firmly in the points. Next up is Alessio Di Capua. Joe Hannon going for it on Thyman Shooter, and he gets through, and he's up to P3, and now he's going to try and get after Lewis Welch right now. It's a massive opportunity for Joe Hannon to get himself a podium here, trying to defend against the Dutchman on the inside line, and he does do so. Joe Hannon up to P3. Otmir is away, clear of DRS of Lewis Welch. Surely it's his race to lose now.
It certainly is, I have to say. Look at it, 2 seconds the gap between Otmir and Lewis Welch, but Joe Hannon is brilliant. Desalewski now going wheel to wheel with none other than Thyman Shooter as they make their way through sector 3. Look at that, Desalewski, prosaic, brilliance in abundance. The Frenchman strikes P4 for the Racing Point man, and he's letting fly now at Joe Hannon on those soft tyres. They're working out for him right now. Thyman Shooter relegated to P5, Jack.
Yeah, that's big for him. Thyman Shooter, of course, he can't really defend. Dormeyer's trying to have a go at him now as well. But now Barry Borman's on the back of that train now as well. He's on the back of De Capua following Jorge Albarola, Dormeyer and Thyman Shooter. It's really now a case Barry's got to get through this field as quickly as he can to try and get himself at least on the podium to keep his title hopes alive in these last few laps. Danny Moreno back at the back of the field, throws up the inside. Barry Borman on Alessio Di Capua, who can't really defend. He's on old medium tyres. He's going to try and hang it out, but Barry Borman is in front. Will he have DRS? He does not have DRS. Uses his overtake to stay in front. No DRS until they cross the line next time, of course, due to the safety car. But Barry up another place. P8 for him. Next up up is Jorge Almirola.
Yeah, look at this. Philip Prejnader down the inside as well, heading up into the braking zone, moving up through the chicane and out of turn 10 now. The Ferrari moves up into P10, into the points as well. Otmir currently holding on to the fastest lap. Look at what's going on in behind as well. Wheel-to-wheel action between Tom Martinez and Chanakinchi as they come through the braking zone again. Hard braking up through the chicane, and still holding on is none other than Dominica. I think that's Dario Yamulo, in fact. Is that Yamulo in the Red Bull? Is he? I believe he's still in the race, isn't he, Jack?
He is. It is Dario Yamulo. Leveche was the Red Bull that did crash out earlier on, so can't confirm. But coming through the middle second, Simon Schutzer is holding up this big train of cars. Desilewski is trying to chase after Johanan. And there's Barry, not hanging around, up the inside of Jorge Almirola into turn 20. That is not an overtaking corner, but he's made it work nonetheless. P7 for Barry Bormand. Now, Andreas Dormeyer is next up on his hit list. And DRS is enabled on this lap, of course. He's got to try and close that gap up. But he is absolutely on a mission here, Barry Bormand. This is brilliant driving so far, but he's got to try and get past another couple of cars to get to that podium place. It's still very much possible for the Iranian.
Certainly was, but he's making his way now around the Ferrari World Hairpin. He has got Andreas Dormeyer ahead of him, as we now see Prejnader disposing of Alessio Di Capua, but they're wheel to wheel this time, and I have to say it could well be this time that Prejnader tries to land a heavy blow, but Di Capua with the pace on the medium tyre, absolutely exceptional. Philip Prejnader dancing in behind the Williams. Di Capua taking the inside line to defend. Prejnader, the Slovakian, trying to whittle his way through a little slip, but no, he cannot do it. Di Capua, as a result, now tries to tackle with Jorge Almirola, gets it done as well. Exceptional there from Alessio Di Capua, and I have to say, possibly one of the moves of the race as though Philip Prejnader has a look down the inside of Almirola. Absolute scenes here in lap 22.
Almirola got a slide on through that last corner, and Di Capua just drove past him as if he was stood still. So brilliant driving from Alessio Di Capua, but he has got a penalty, of course, 5 seconds to add on. That will cost him a lot of places at the end of this one. And Williams are on course to score 0 points in this race, George. This could be really a chance for Mercedes to try and wrap this up if Moreno can get himself in the points. And now here comes Barry, overtake on Dormeyer, going to go for the outside line into turn 1. Can he get it done on the German? Around the outside, he does do it. Lovely move from Barry Borman around the outside. Next up is Simon Schutzer, and he can sense that podium is just a few cars away.
He certainly can, and he's coming down into the next chicane now at turns 5 and 6. Just look at him getting closer and closer to the Alfa Romeo of Simon Schutzer. Round the Ferrari World Hairpin. Barry now getting closer and closer. Those soft tyres working wonders for him right now. He'll utilise DRS once again as he comes across the line. Action packed here at Abu Dhabi as they come through, down through the straight, leading down towards turn 8. It's the McLaren versus the Alfa Romeo as they make their way down now. Wheel to wheel action. You can see him. He dispatches him. Simon Schutzer down to P6. The orange McLaren bursting through. Barry Burman, the fast, wicked Iranian, making his way into the top 5.
Yeah, we just had a spin for Jorge Almirola down the back, and he's managed to get going again, thankfully. But Danny Moreno 3 wide in the background with Chanakinchi and Tom 97, and now that's going to get a little bit tight spin for Chanakinchi, and there was no room for any of those cars to make it through. And unfortunately, Chanakinchi comes a cropper after the contact, and he falls down to 15th place as they try to go 3 wide. Tom Martinez and Danny Moreno, but Moreno made it through without any damage to his car. That got a little bit tight for space, but now this is so interesting. We have now the battle for the podium, Desilewski and Johanan, but now Danny Moreno is hunting them down. 4 laps left in this race, and it could really be anybody's at this rate. 2 seconds up to Lewis Welch, a further 1.5 seconds up to Otmir, and you can bet your bottom dollar that Otmir is trying and nursing those tyres to get to the end.
Absolutely, and currently just look at the gap now. Zalewski in trouble because in behind is Buraman. He is really probing. Buraman on a charge, remember, has been dispatching cars like a man possessed. Might yet do it again, going through the Ferrari World Hairpin. Absolutely brilliant wheel-to-wheel action between the pair of them. Still now, it is Zalewski who's on top, but Burman now will try and leave it for dead down the long stretch. The McLaren blazing through down the inside, trying to tackle that at the racing point. Absolutely pandemonium here in lap 24, and Burman has done it. it. Scintillating stuff. And now he'll let fly at Johanan, the impressive AlphaTauri, who has broken all expectations here today. He now comes up against the fast Iranian Barry Burman with Antoine on his tail.
The question is now, how quickly can Barry get past Johanan and get after Lewis Welch? It's still possible that he could get second in this race. We'll have to wait and see, but a tough ask for him in this late phase of the Grand Prix, but he'll at least get him onto the third step of the podium. And of course, we should be second anyway, because Lewis Welch has that 3-second time penalty, but of course we have to take into account that he could try and get it removed in the stewards room, so anything can change in this phase of the race. There's a big old scrap going on between Luke Smith and Tom 97. Danny Moreno gets a 3-second penalty, and that's going to hurt his chances even more, and it's all falling apart in this late phase for Danny Moreno, and really what a change of events. The safety car has totally thrown everything into disarray. Moreno pits, I reckon that could be for a front wing change. Let's have a look here. Are the Mercs readying the front wings? No, he's bolting on another set of the soft tyres, and appears to be trying to go for fastest lap here, but disaster of a race for Danny Moreno.
It has been indeed. It has not gone the machine's way, but to look at this now, Barry Burman getting closer and closer this time to none other than Johanan, and surely this is all going to be academic here, because here comes Barry. He is literally eyeing him up. Danny Moreno's retired from the session. Mercedes one-legged. Burman up into P3. Now makes his way up onto the podium places, but remember, he has still got to get past Lewis Welch if he wants to get close to that P1 spot. Still Otmir out in front, but a battle for P2 is very much on. Lewis Welch, though, 2.5 seconds away from Otmir. Burman has 3 seconds to find. Moreno is out of the race. Mercedes are only going to finish with one car in this race. Johanan still in behind, but look at the tussle for P's 4, 5 and 6. You got Di Capua coming through as well. Amazing stuff indeed. But Burman, he has been the charge. He has been the light in this race. The McLaren has been absolutely dynamic. We have loved every minute of it. His battle through the field has been nothing short of sterling, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. He's pulled half a second on Lewis Welch already on those new tyres. And we've gone to lap 26 of 28, so 3 laps left in this race, and Lewis's tyres will not be the greatest. They've obviously been under safety car for a number of laps, but they won't be as grippy as those tyres on Barry Burman's car, so he's flying on this new tyre. He's already pulled DRS on Anton Desilewski, and Di Capua is actually the man who's trying to challenge Desilewski now into the brakes. He's going to have a look up the inside. No, he's not. He's going to hang behind the racing point, but again, Di Capua's got 5 seconds to add onto his time, so it could be a case that the only point scorer for both of the constructors seems to me could only be Jarno Otmir that scores points this evening.
It could well be, but now we've seen Anton Desilewski now in deep trouble, because here comes the man again. It's Alessio Di Capua down the inside for the Williams team on the medium tyres and gets into P5. And a great drive indeed to move himself up there. He's got Johanan next, right ahead of him. And then, of course, is the podium placings, of course, with which have Barry Burman at the tail end of them right now. But moving aside now already is the AlphaTauri, and he just lets Alessio through there. That's interesting, Jack. Interesting move there from Johanan. I'm not sure there was nothing defensive about that. Just sort of let the car through. Intriguing.
Yeah, I think he knows that Di Capua's got a 5-second penalty, so there's no reason to fight him in this late phase. It's just his main battle is with Desilewski, Timon Shootout, and Philip Preshner, who's on the same tyres as Barry Burman, who's also on a bit of a charge through this field. So interesting stuff. And look at Barry, look at this, into DRS of Lewis Welch already. Gap up to Jarno Otmir is 2.3 seconds. I think that's out of Barry's reach at this point. I think all the best he can hope for is getting second on track, which would have been the result anyway, I reckon, after the safety car, but if we hadn't had a safety car. So really now it's all in the hands of Barry Burman. Lewis Welch struggling now on these tyres. You can see the blistering on the right hand side of the tyre. He's struggling badly with understeer right now. 2 laps left to go. I think Otmir's got it wrapped up, but now Barry Burman surely now is on a plate.
He can do, and he might get him here on this straight, and Barry might even have a go at Otmir. Remember, these two have been very much at horns with each other here at Sim Racing. We've seen it so many times before. Both of them so talented, both of them so quick. Burman now making his way down the stretch, going to take a chunk out of Lewis Welch, who has driven exceptionally, and no challenge at all for Barry Burman. Makes his way up into P2. Lewis Welch does not challenge for the position. He'll hold on to P3. He just wants wants to get home and take a podium. But Burman now, who does still have Lewis Welch on his tail, does not have DRS. Lewis Welch might yet have another go here. No, not this time. Barry Burman holds onto the inside line. Very well defended and very well executed indeed. And that now means that the McLaren is now on the second step of the podium here at Abu Dhabi. It's been an absolutely sterling race here at Yas Marina. Lots of drama, different drama to what we usually experience. Simon Shooter now starting to close up on Philip Prejnader, but credit to Jarno Opmeer. Despite the double safety car, he has managed to get these softs all the way to the, certainly all the way to the end. He's 3 seconds in front of Barry Burman. It looks all wrapped up here. The last lap now approaching, Jack.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at the tyre where I think Opmeer is definitely safe. His rear tyre is on about 56% wear. So he's now should be safe to the end. He's obviously nursed those tyres and kept them in good shape all the way through. And the mark of a great driver, looking after those tyres for so long under both safety cars. Of course, Barry's not going to give up just in case Opmeer picks up a warning or something. But that is, of course, a very, very rare occurrence that we see that. But Barry, I think, can be proud of the way he's driven today, considering he tried a different strategy. It didn't work. The safety cars worked for him, and he's made it back up to where he was anyway. Now, of course, Opmeer will extend the gap in the championship anyways, but as far as I'm aware, Mercedes will not walk away with the constructors this evening, because Danny, of course, DNFing, and we have the Williams, we have P4 for De Capo. He's going to drop down about 5 seconds, and no for him, but De Capo's going to go for the move anyway on Lewis Welch into P3. It goes the Williams, but that will not stand after this. Of course, these standings. Of course, Lewis Welch is on for third place in this one, as Philip Prejnader is on a massive charge at the moment past Zalewski. There's big scraps going on in the midfield right now. Timon Shooter desperately trying to hang on, but Yamulo goes around this outside off the circuit, but Shooter trying to hang on through this last sector. Great stuff from all these guys. But despite everything, nobody could stop this man. 3 in a row it will be through turn 21. Despite everything thrown at him, it is Jarno Opmeer. 3 in a row. He wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Barry Burman will line up in second place. Great drive from him, and we wait to see Lewis Welch on the podium in the Haas, but no, it's taken by Joe Hannon after the penalty is given. It's provisionally a podium for AlphaTauri, their first of the season. Great drive from Joe Hannon prior to the stewards' investigations, but nobody could give Jarno Opmeer a run for his money. Barry tried, but it didn't work. Despite everything, it's Jarno Opmeer on top for the 3rd time in a row.
Yes, he started on second, while P2 on the front row of the grid alongside Barry Burman. Both of them absolutely phenomenal drivers, but it's the Flying Dutchman who scores again for the 3rd time running to at least solidify his position at the top of the championship once again for another week, nursing those soft tyres home in an exquisite fashion. He's your winner. It's Jarno Opmeer. Barry Burman will finish in P2, and what a Cinderella story for P3. Joe Hannon gets through. Once again manages to solidify his position there in P3. I have to say that is absolutely exquisite from Joe Hannon for the first time in this championship. But your winner, without question, there he is, Jarno Opmeer on top spot. An incredible job indeed. And I have to say, what a race. I tell you what, folks, you've been treated to a corker. It certainly was very special, and a huge treat for everyone watching at home, that's for sure. Absolutely unreal developments here at PSGL. I can imagine there's going to be lots to be reported to the stewards, folks. But we'll have a look now at the final classification of this race here at Abu Dhabi. Jarno Opmeer is your winner, and of course does scoop up the fastest lap as well to boot, a 1:34.492. Barry Burman in P2, and managing to finish there, just not enough though, and but a great effort nonetheless to scoop home a podium after that long battle at the end. Joe Hannon, though, the story of the race, side P13, got a P3 on the night. Lewis Welch just so close towards a podium, and unfortunately a penalty is what ruined his chances. Philip Prejnader back in the points yet again. A very much improved performance to say the least. Alessio Di Capua P6. Antoine de Zalewski in P7 with Simon Shooter in P8. Andreas Dormeyer P9 as well. Tom Martinez in the points in P10. Exquisite job there. Luke Smith finished in P11 for McLaren. A good start here for that man. Dario Yamulo in P12. Jorge Alberola P13 with Chana Kinchi in P14. And unfortunately we lost Danny Moreno, Yari Fitz, Dominique Leveche, Dylan Warren, Magnus Van Erven, and of course Alvaro Caraton with that DQ. But Jack, What a race. What a story. I cannot believe what we saw in that one. An exquisite drive by Jarno Watmir, but I think without question, if I was picking driver of the day, it's got to go to Joe Hannon.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, brilliant job from Joe. I mean, to get himself on the podium in the first place is such an amazing job. Tom Martinez as well. He started 17th on the grid and got himself into the points. That obviously deserves a hat tip as well. But just for the simple fact he got himself on the podium from 30th on the grid, it's got to go to Joe Hannon.
Oh, absolutely. I think it was very, generally we see the same names, same faces on the podium week in, week out. It's so nice to see some new ones, I have to say. It was absolutely brilliant. We've got Jarno Watmir waiting in the waiting room right now, and he's just about to join us. Jarno, what a race, my friend. Incredible drive, to say the least, to get those softs to the end. 2 safety cars. You just don't plan for those occasions, do you?
Well, if you go a little bit longer on one set of tires, you can get the advantage if the safety car comes out at that point. And, I was saving tires to do the one-stop on the mediums. And then with that safety car, I was a bit skeptical if the softs were going to work out until the end of the race. And then, that second safety car came out and it helped it a little bit more as well. Also, others that didn't make the pit stop during the first safety car could do it then. So I think it helped everyone a little bit in some way. And I think even without the second safety car, I think I would have made it probably to the end of the race. So I was managing the tires really well for my feelings. So pretty happy about tire management, especially this race.
Yeah, I mean, it was an exceptional performance. I mean, how important was grabbing that P1 at the very first lap? Obviously, heading into turn 1, you got that wrapped up pretty much from the get-go, because obviously in behind, Barry Burman was under pressure instantly from Alessio Di Capua. I bet that was a real comforting thought, knowing that Barry had other fights, because it was almost like a tale of two halves in his case, wasn't it? Heading around turn 1, Alessio was really giving him some headaches.
I really wanted to get a good start, so I was a little bit safe from the soft runners. I saw Alessio got a slightly better start than me, but luckily I had positioned my car in the right place, and he was just stuck behind. Alessio was just stuck behind me and Barry. So really good start, I think so, and just managed to manage it very well from there on.
Yeah, it was an exceptional job, and naturally, it's very tricky when obviously things happen during the race. I mean, it's been the craziest season. We've yet to have a single safety car throughout the calendar. All of a sudden, we come here to Abu Dhabi. We have 2 of them. Absolutely incredible. Naturally, now that springs an advantage in the championship for yourself, even more so. Yourself and Barry Burman coming clear of some of the runners in behind. Of course, Alvaro Carreton getting disqualified in this race today, and of course, Danny Moreno himself, your teammate, DQing. Obviously, now with only 2 races left, you're in a very good position. How do you see things going for the final couple of races? Are you confident?
I'm confident. I think I don't know how many points I'm at of Barry. I think 10.
I believe so. Yeah, and I think it's about 10, isn't it, Jack? Can you confirm that?
I think so. I'm not good with quick maths, but I think it's roughly that.
Yeah. So luckily I got the fast lap as well for that extra point, so that was good. And in the next 2 races, I'm still gonna be aiming for the win, of course. But in some battles, I might have to take it a bit more careful and think about the championship. I'm still gonna push myself to the maximum. As I said last week, not practicing as much anymore as I would do for the start of a new game, but I'm still enjoying it, playing it to maximum 3 hours per day. So.
Well, I have to say, that's certainly bowing well for you right now. An excellent win, and 3 in a row as well. Maybe you can make it 4, maybe you can make it 5. We'll soon find out. But congratulations on an illustrious performance. Great victory. And we'll look forward to seeing you at Australia for the next one.
Thank you, George. Thank you.
Thank you, Jarno. Thank you. Next man.
Sorry, can I just interject, George, very quickly? I've just had confirmation from Connor, and just congratulations to you, Jarno, and to Danny. Of course, Mercedes have won the constructor, so congratulations.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Danny told me that we could win, so that's great. Thank you.
Well done, guys.
Excellent. Enjoy the win.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well done. Well, there you go. That answers that question. Well done, Jack. Good timing. Moving in as well, Barry Burman is coming to join us as well. P2 on the day. Barry, once again, you were besmirched here from the get-go, just losing out on that P1 spot going into turn 1. But nevertheless, a strong race from yourself, despite the challenges of the safety car. What a rise. It must have been really sweaty for you heading through all those cars.
Yeah, first of all, I should say hello to everyone. Like, I think clearly in the quali I showed the pace is there, and even in the race pace was really there. But yeah, like every time I change my tire, and then one lap later, boom, safety car. I don't know why I'm not any luck. I don't have any luck about the safety car things, and it wasn't even my fault. It was unlucky. But yeah, I don't know about the rules, but I think I don't know if my 5-second penalty will get removed or not. But because I got my 5-second penalty for nothing actually, so because the game has some major glitch that's in the safety car for like some lines, and in some situation the game for nothing gives you 5-second time penalty, but I pitted and I got held for 5 seconds in the pit as well. I don't know it will be removed or not, but I hope if it will be removed, I will get P1. Yeah, I will tell to the stewards, but yeah, at the end was a really sweaty race. Really enjoyed that, and GG to Jarno as well. Once again, he's better strategy in the safety car, but it wasn't really on my hand. I pitted and then boom, safety car, because I think Jarno went for 1 stop and I went for 2 stop because I thought 2 stop is much quicker. But yeah, these things happen. But yeah, at least at the end of the day, I really enjoyed the race.
Yeah, well, you've got obviously 2 races coming up. I mean, P2 in the end was a fantastic result given the challenges you had, but we've still got Australia and, of course, Brazil to come up next. The battle for the Drivers' Championship is still alive and kicking. I mean, obviously, Mercedes have taken the Constructors. So is it now going to be full focus for these next 2 races? Try and see if you can get as close to toppling Jarno as best you can?
Yeah, first of all, I should say so. It's usual Mercedes get the constructors because they are playing like it's an esport team. They have some engineers. They have that driver is gonna participate Mercedes in the esport. So we already knew that Mercedes gonna get it. But yeah, I'm gonna do my best. As I said, I'm still learning these races stuff because I think in quali, I still think I have a little bit advantage pace, but in the race, I still need to learn a little bit racecraft and this stuff to get more experience. And I'm really looking forward. I'm going to do absolute my best and really looking forward to learn and get more experience to be more prepared for esport, as I said.
Well, it's a very mature approach indeed, and I'm sure, without a shadow of a doubt, you will certainly improve. But from what we've seen already, it's been really, really, really incredible to watch your performances. Obviously, qualifying today was impressive. Just talk us through that last lap you did in qualifying that you managed to snatch P1 in Q3 on, because it looked like Jarno had it all dead and buried halfway through that session, but you came out, and even though he improved, you went quicker again. Just how hard, just how difficult was it to string a lap like that together?
I really didn't have a good banker lap, I should say, because I had a little bit more traffic in sector 3, and especially I had some mistakes. But for going to the last run, I knew I had the pace, and I knew if I do point 1 was impossible in the actual session because of the pressure. But I knew if I do point 2 or low point 3, it will get a pole. And in this track, it's so many corner cutting. If you for 1 millimeters, the track will give you a corner cut, and it's not really been my favorite track as well. But I can say for the next 2 races, I really like the tracks, Brazil, Australia. But yeah, that lap, I think I'm not gonna say my best lap ever, but it was a good lap.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant, I have to say. And it certainly did electrify the commentary box. Absolutely amazing to see. Obviously, now 2 races left to go. We're going to be looking at the Drivers' Championship with great interest. And naturally, Australia and Brazil are coming up next. What are your thoughts on those circuits? What are your thoughts on heading to Australia? It's going to have to be your absolute best, I think, next week, isn't it? To try and make sure you stay in touch with the Flying Dutchman.
First of all, I should say, it's a big challenge for me, to be honest, because he won the championship. He is a world champion. So, I'm still saying I'm learning from him, from the guy, from the esport drivers. I'm really looking forward to learn. And if I can, and I'm sure I can, I will challenge him as well. And I'm really looking forward to the next 2 tracks. But Jarno has a little bit good point advantage for winning the championship, but it is what it is. I'm going to do absolute my best and hopefully not unlucky anymore about safety car things.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure the viewers at home will be looking forward to that one, folks. Do not miss it. The next 2 weeks are going to be absolutely incredible. Barry, thanks ever so much for joining us. Congratulations on the podium, my friend. A great P2, and we'll see you next time at Melbourne.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone, and congrats to Jarno as well, and the Mercedes team as well.
Thank you very much, Barry. Pleasure to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Last but not least, I'm looking forward to this one because it's a special story. We got Joe Hannon now with us, P3 here in this race, and I have to say it's been a real testing fight for a lot of the new drivers that come into this league. Obviously, a lot of established world champions, a lot of established esports drivers, but it's great to be joined by some new blood that is coming to join the fray, certainly here in esports and certainly here at the PSGL PC Championship. Joe Hannon, how are you? An amazing P3. You must be delighted.
Yeah, it's a really good result considering I'm finishing behind Barry and Jarno, probably the 2 best on this game. So, especially coming from outside the top 10, and considering everything, I think P3 is very good, yeah. So, I'm really quite happy about it.
I bet you are. I bet you were screaming, jumping for joy. I expect after that, I was absolutely brilliant. Starting from P13 to get in a P3, a mighty 10 places gained, which is unreal. Just talk us through, because you looked really calm and collected, driven. I mean, just talk us through that race, because it was less than easy. Would you say the safety cars definitely helped you out to get in that podium today?
Yeah, I think they did, but I think I still would have been on for a decent result nonetheless.
Yeah.
The race was good. I didn't really do much practice, so there was not really any pressure on me. I messed up in Q2. So I didn't get through to Q3, so that's why I was starting outside the top 10, because I feel like the pace was there for Q3 quite easily. And then the race, it was going quite well. Everything was being managed well, and then the safety cars hit, and I was kind of indecisive what to do. And then Antoine, I was talking with, he decided for us to pit basically. So I did, and it turned out all right. The tyres died so much at the end, or a lot, and yeah, I need to work on that because mine seemed to die a lot quicker than others, so I'm not really sure why that is, even though I was trying to save them. So yeah, that's one thing to work on, but even still, a really good result.
Yeah, it was absolutely spectacular. And we do actually have a question from someone in the chat, Jules Lab 2. Can you ask Joe what his feeling was going into the last lap to snatch P3 from Lewis with 1.5 tenth finish?
I thought I messed it up, I'm not going to lie, because my tyres, as I said, they were completely dead. And I saw the gap was over 3 seconds at one point. So I was basically just hoping for Alessio, who had a penalty, to battle with Louis. And luckily that happened, and I just got it by a tenth. Yeah, I was just pushing as hard as I can without losing any time through wheel spin or anything.
I've got to say, exquisite drive, and obviously it takes a lot of bottle to race against these kind of drivers, and you've been improving right through the season, and obviously it's been great for AlphaTauri because they haven't had the best of seasons. Now we're looking ahead, and I'll say it to the other guys as well, I'll say it to you. Australia coming up, as well as the grand finale at Brazil. What are your thoughts against those 2 tracks? Obviously 2 tracks synonymous with Formula 1 over the last 10, 15 years. What are your thoughts heading around those circuits of Melbourne and Interlagos?
Well, I haven't really done Melbourne on this game really at all, so I'm not really too sure what to think about that. But for Brazil, I've done it a few times, so I know that my pace around there is actually quite good, so I'm kind of looking forward to that one more. But yeah, as you said, I've been improving quite a bit since I joined this league, so hopefully there's more improvement to come.
Yeah, we'll look forward to seeing it. So congratulations on, and you were my driver of the day as well, Joe. So congratulations, epic P3, and we'll look forward to seeing more of it in the future. Well done.
Cheers.
Thank you. Jack, another phenomenal race, and we've had one title decided here tonight, and so it's great that we get to see the fireworks of Abu Dhabi go off for at least one championship winning cause, and that of course means that Mercedes have won the Constructors. Obviously the driver's still very much in full flow. I'd imagine that Barry is probably going to have to try and up it another level.
Yeah, he needs a big last 2 rounds. He's absolutely not out of it. It's still as close as ever, but he's going to need a massive few rounds, last 2 rounds, to get one over on Jarno Watmir, just to keep those amazing stats of Jarno Watmir alive. He still has not finished off the podium at all in any race that he has started this season. He has only finished 3rd once, so he has an average finishing position of 2nd, which is unbelievably close the whole way through this season. Barry's only finished off the podium once, of course, that Belgium round where he got the drive-through penalty, but even so, still managing to get points. Current championship scenario heading into the last 2 rounds then. Jarno Watmir ahead by 12, so it's even better than he thought it would be. It's 12 points. Fastest lap bringing it up to 12 points ahead of Barry Borman. Now, Alvaro Caraton still 3rd, but on 83 points. So all of a sudden, the gap has really opened up massively between those two. So really, from what was a 5-horse race has now all of a sudden turned into a 2-horse race for the title. And a few more stats: 8 podiums for Jarno Watmir, and 7 podiums for Barry Borman as well. I mean, it's something else. And Barry carries on the form, now has the most pole positions of anybody at 5 poles this year.
Well, it just goes to show that he is still up there and just as good as many at the top end. And it was probably just the finale we wanted to see, of course. 2 of the best in the world, or suspect best in the world. Of course, Barry has proven it before that he is up there and wants to fight with the best in the world. And he can certainly do that against Jarno Watmir. I think we're going to be in for a very incredible series of races to end off PSGL. And obviously this circuit, this circle of the game, or this cycle of the game, F1 2020. And I really hope you guys at home have really enjoyed it as well. It's been absolutely sensational to bring you the live coverage of this action here at PSGL. We've enjoyed every single bit of it, and we hope you guys have too. Remember, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Also hit the like button as well. If you want to check out more from PSGL, you can obviously get through to them on Twitter. That's at Premier Sim GL. I believe that's it, or Premier. I think it's Premier Sim GL. Anyway, I think that's right. You can also find me on Twitter as well at George Morgan TV, and of course find Jack Canant on JackC.com. So do feel free to come and ask us any questions you have. Jack, what are your thoughts heading into Australia and Brazil? Do you think that it's going to be an all Jarno Watmir fest, or do you think Barry will turn up the heat?
It's a tough one to call, isn't it? Not too sure what's going to happen really, because they're so closely matched. It's so hard to call. I mean, Barry went 3 in a row at the start. Now Jarno's gone 3 in a row at the end towards the tail end of the season. But maybe an interesting stat to carry forward. No one's ever got more than 3 wins in a row. So maybe somebody else will get on the top step. Will it be Barry? Will it be Jarno is another question, but the championship is still close. It's 12 points, but Barry has got to win next week. If he doesn't, Jarno could potentially wrap it up next week.
Well, there we go, folks. It's all to play for. The championship is alive, and it comes down to the final 2 races. The Flying Dutchman could win it next week, but he's won something tonight. Mercedes have taken the Constructors' Championship. Jarno Watmir takes another and his 3rd Grand Prix in a row with a win at Abu Dhabi. We'll see you next week in Australia, folks. Do take care. Goodbye.